Okay.
Just in case anybody gets nervous.
Yeah.
If we're moving it to the end of. Consent agenda.
Hi, everybody. We'll do the pledge. Thank you. No, I mean. Well, no. Think so. Oh, the other one is off.
Right, yeah.
Okay, sorry, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We can have roll call, please.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
trustee Check, trustee Hunter, excused. Trustee Fisher. Here. Trustee Foster. Here. Trustee Estrella. Here. Have a quorum.
Hey, thank you. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, I'd like to make a change to the agenda, and it's under consent agenda. The license renewal, the special event liquor license for Top of the Rockies BMW rally. We're gonna remove it from this consent agenda and bring it to the next meeting. I think that we're still some work to be done or something like that, so that will not be included. And there is no information specifically in the packet either. So with that in mind, if somebody will unless somebody has anything else to change with the agenda. Okay, if somebody make a motion to approve the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Great.
Aye.
Thank you. There are 3 announcements I'd like to do, and then if anybody else has any announcements, just say so. The first one is our Mayor Pro Tem Majorado has resigned. We all received an email from him on Thursday. So there'll be a resolution in the next, with the next agenda, the next meeting, affirming that his resignation. So we'll be able to discuss that then. There is still an open seat for a community member on the Planning Commission for a 2-year term. You must live in town to be eligible to serve. The Planning Commission meets once a month on the first Monday at 6 p.m. If interested, please turn in your application to the town clerk by June 3rd. And there is also an open seat for a community member on the Zoning Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term. In this case, you do not have to live in town to be eligible to serve. And the Zoning Board of Adjustment only meets when there is business to be put before it. Please turn in your application to town clerk by June 3rd. And again, I encourage anyone here who lives in town or out of town or anyone that's listening, we really, really need a citizen participant on the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Adjustment. So neither of which are a incredible time commitment. The Planning Commission meets once a month on the first Monday of the month. So please give it your consideration. Thank you. So this is anybody else have an announcement? Okay. This is the portion of the meeting where anyone in the room or online that would like to make a public comment on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. You have 3 minutes to do so and come on up to the podium if you would like to do so. Sure, come on up, Mike. And hang on 1 second. Do we have our timer? Are you able to do that? Okay, so let's see, just for the room, we haven't had the timer the last couple meetings. There's one timer that goes off, which means 45 seconds, and then there's a 3-minute timer, just so everybody's treated the same. So please proceed.
Hey, my name is Mike Rosonic. I live at 227 Delta Avenue. And every year about this time when they turn the ditches in and the water table comes up, our basements flood. And that's happened again. And in the past, I've always just gotten a hold of whoever was a public work person. They would go pump or clean out that storm drain there at the railroad tracks on 3rd Street. It would take care of our problem. And my neighbor told me today that she was told that it's our problem now and they're not going to do anything about it. But we need some help with that. I've got a sump pump, but it runs through under my furnace and hot water heater and everything before it gets there. So anyway, I would like some help with this.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up at Will's Public Works. Thank you. Anyone else for anything they wanted to speak on that is not on the agenda?
Question.
Sure.
Are we allowed to discuss what was just?
No.
No.
Actually, no, I'd like to turn it over to the staff
Uh-huh.
and let them, let us know what they're gonna do about it, and we'll get them to report back.
Okay.
In this case, because I heard some things about it as well, but, I know the staff has been working on it, so. So let's hold off. We can find out more tomorrow. Okay. Did someone have their hand for 3 minutes? Yes, Mary, come on up.
Mary Beckman.
Yeah.
Board. I'm sure you're feeling overwhelmed and with good reason. There's a lot going on in our small town, far more than when I first came involved in town government 10 years ago. Most of it is good stuff. Fixing the water system, installing water meters, fixing streets, updating old policies, a master plan and a code revision. And these are just the highlights. But some things remain the same or have gotten worse. There is a small group of people, some who do not even live in town, who consistently and currently denigrate the work of all sitting town administrators with the same mantra. The administrator is incompetent, is corrupt, is lying, is hiding things. Staff are lazy and don't know what they're doing. The whole system is a disaster. These people show up at town meetings and spew their invective, misinformation, disinformation, and flat out lies. If you disagree with them, you are their next target. This has been going on as long as I've been involved in the town, and it is the single most destructive thing to the operation of this town and to any hope of progress. But now we have the addition of a few more people who have personal vendettas against the town administrator for what they feel are slights or personal injustice. Not only have they waged a campaign of lies about his work, about his character, and against his wife and children, they have repeated and expanded on the mantra of the small number of malcontents. While this may be acceptable behavior at the national level, where lies and retribution are the norm, this is not the behavior we should accept in Paonia. In the words of a 12-year-old who said to the town meeting, be nice, be fair. I would add, be truthful and brave. Okay. Well, I wish I would memorize this. And stand up for the vocal and mean minority. Listen to people, not Facebook streams. The resignation of the town administrator due to these two groups of people is the disaster. Hiring an interim administrator and running a job search is a very expensive proposition, but one that must be done if you want to keep the town functioning on any reasonable level. This resignation will halt forward progress and keep us treading water for at least a year. This is unconscionable and all due to a few self-promoting people. Finally, you will hear in this room all the complaints about what the town is or is not doing. Rarely will you get a compliment, but do your job honestly and with integrity, listening to the community at large, not the naysayers, and people will stop you at the post office, at Dawn's, or walking down the street to say thank you for standing up for them and our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak for 3 minutes on something not on the agenda? And anyone on Zoom? I don't see any hands, correct?
See anybody on Zoom?
Okay, anyone before we move on to the consent agenda? All right, thanks. We'll move on. Thank you. As part of the consent agenda is we have the April 14th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. And we have one license renewal for 131 LLC doing business as West Elk Wine and Spirits liquor license renewal, and we have our May 26th disbursements. So does anyone have any questions or comments about anything in the consent agenda? Hearing none, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second? Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That is approved. So we'll move on to staff reports, and we have two different reports coming under the auspices of the town administration. And the first one is, a question came up about what is the best way for the public to engage with the town? And it was a really good question. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people understand what the avenues are. So, our deputy clerk has put together a presentation to discuss, I believe you're talking both text my gov and,
There's two pieces.
Okay.
There's the general communication with the town and communications that come through text like that.
hey, thank you.
And this is basically to just give you a better, just in a general overview of how it works. Okay, so there's three ways that people can actually communicate with the town other than a phone call. One is a direct email where they just email peonia@peonia.com. The other is all the web forms on the website feed to that mailbox as well. And also Text My Gov sends a notice to Peonia mailbox as well, but it also sends it to its own mailbox that we monitor for service. They all go to the shared Peonia mailbox, which is authorized by 3 individuals to monitor and route the emails accordingly.
Wait, who are those three?
That would be myself, Dina, and Sam. Versus Stefan. Oh, Ashton. Christy just got added as well, our new front office administrative person. So what happens when we get an email is we receive it, it stays unread in the mailbox until one of us goes in there and reads it. We review it, and then we forward it either to the appropriate individual or department. And there's some that actually don't get forwarded, like for an invoice we get. We just print the invoice and file it in the invoices folder. And we send that invoice to the department head for coding and over to Ashley for payment. But basically, once that email is forwarded or done with from the mailbox, it's not deleted. It's actually filed within subfolders in the Peonia mailbox. Now we have a folder for invoices, core requests, vendors, all kinds of things. It's all sorted, filed away. If we cannot identify who it goes to, it stays in the mailbox inbox until we find out who it actually goes to, and then we forward it on to. If there's a response required, we respond to it. Or if someone asking for acknowledgement, we acknowledge we received your email, it's been forwarded to the appropriate party. So here we go, the email's received, and to be identified. If so, yes, forward to file, if not keep in the inbox. Very straightforward, don't move anything. The Text My Gov system is its own beast. It sends an email, old mailbox called service requests. It automatically generates a service ticket and it sends an email to the Peonia mailbox as well. And I'll show you that in just a second. But the way it works is it automatically generates a service request number. And it gets assigned based on the routing that we set up, and I'll show you that as well. And then it moves into a pending folder until whatever the request was, whether it was a missed trash pickup or a snow shovel on the sidewalk needs to be done, or shoveling on the sidewalk needs to be done. Until that's completed, it stays in the pending status. Once public work's complete, or whoever does the work, we move over to the completed folder. So we don't delete them, we just save them. But the purpose of this is that have visibility that everyone can, 3 of us, or there's 4 now, can
Can
see.
you project what we have in our packet on text my gov? Because right now, this is from at paonia.gov, right? Forgot. What we're looking at on the screen, is this leftover?
This is the main, what happens to emails received when they come into the final.
Okay, but
I'm going to show you text my.
okay, you had moved over to text my gov and I was trying to catch up because you have such a good presentation on it. My apologies.
I'm sorry, I broke it up into 2 separate presentations because text my gov is its own animal. Okay,
Mhm.
but just the way it ties into this is that it does feed to the Peonia mailbox.
Thank you.
Second.
Could you go back to that slide that you just had up there? The one with the font. Visibility, that one. So I think it's really important that, that it's accountability, that every one of them is seen.
Yes.
And then there's an organizational setup for each one to go to where it needs to go to be addressed. Thank you.
Yes. Can I ask one
Yes, of
question?
course. Yeah, I think we should ask questions as we go. Yes, go ahead.
Just a question. Is there a protocol for identifying time-sensitive requests, like with text my gov, like there's a gushing fire hydrant on this corner, or
Yeah,
like, how does that work? If they all go to the same email, how do you identify what's time-sensitive?
I'm copied on everything, including the text message. So I'm kind of primary contact or text my gov, even after hours. There've been a few after hour calls that I work with Rocky and with Jordan, especially on beats that happen after hours. People call and like they call, most likely they'll call 811 to locate and file an emergency. And they would contact either Public Works or myself.
So 811 is another avenue to contact the town if there's an emergency.
It's a different entity. It's a Colorado 811 for the calling in locates, for utilities when you're about to dig. That's one method that, say contractors use to get Public Works out there if it's an emergency. But for residents, they can call, or report via text my gov.
So how much time does that take you if you're constantly monitoring things for time sensitive?
It's not as often. Ideally, I'd like more people involved, honestly. We're probably a third of the town is signed up right now. We'd like to go for 2/3 higher. And the emergency calls are not that frequent. There's maybe 2 or 3 a month. Most of them are just like missed crash pickup. They're not like urgent.
You kind of wanted to know about his time
Yeah,
he spent.
how much time do you spend monitoring the inbox?
All the time. All three of us, whenever we're working the day, we're checking our email, we check all the mailboxes. I
How do you
personally,
decide who answers what?
if we understand it, like I know that's an invoice, I'll just either one, if it's from a bank, for like a loan payment, that gets sent over to Ashley for payment. But if it's for like a dependable lumber invoice that someone just got a part, we print it off, file it, and give the invoice to the department head for coding.
There's not really a process, just that you all know what to do with whatever different things that come in, so everyone just kind of does what they can?
We
Or,
teach each other.
uh,
Like someone's been there for a while, like I taught Dina how to do it, and Dina's taught Ashley and Christy how to do it. Basically what the process is.
and then do you respond to all incomings or only if they request a response?
Those that are like, for example, core request, they'd say, hey, I received a core request that's being forwarded to the clerk. But usually only if they ask. Or if there's like a outstanding issue that they're hoping to get resolved. We'll respond to the issue's been forwarded over to Public Works. The text my gov system automatically responds with the support ticket number. But when we had the iWork system, I'm gonna divert. It fed into iWork and created a work order and it got assigned to someone that is no longer in place. But now we just automatically assign service tickets. Which leads into text my gov. There is nothing to install on your phone. It doesn't cost you anything. All you do is text these numbers with a word, and you're opted in for any notifications the town sends out, like for a road closure or the gas leak we had a couple weeks ago down on 3rd. Yeah, we sent emergency notifications out of that. Where works is you can find information, you can actually communicate with the town at any hour, and you can get alerts. It's very straightforward. You simply text the word Paonia info to this 91896 number, and you'll get a prompt saying you wish to opt in. Say yes, and you can opt out anytime. And we don't spam your text messages with like nonsense. It's actually important things like the Apple Valley Park bathrooms are now open, or they were closed for repairs or something like that.
But I just have a question about this, because I had signed up for it like last year, and then at some point I stopped getting messages. And then I went and I signed up it again, and it said, you already signed up. But when I signed up again, it gave me options to choose, like, notify you in emergencies, notify you about, like, it was like a bunch of different things, and I just chose them all, and now I'm getting it again.
Okay.
So I don't know if that maybe happened to other people, that we need to resign, like, we need to let people know they need to sign up again, or what might have changed, like, my number didn't change, so I don't know.
But there's 3 different categories you can sign up for. The Paonia info is just a generic town notifications. There's public notices, which is you just text the word public notice to that same number, and you'll sign up for any like important public hearings or notices that we're holding. And then there's another one for road closures. Like if you just want to know about road closure, sign up for just that. And usually if there's a road closure, we text both the town distribution and the road closure distribution. So they're both in there. So it could be that you signed up for one and didn't get notified because there was no message for that group.
That's probably what happened.
That would happen.
I'm like you. I've only signed up once for Text My Gov and I'm not getting those other two. So do I need to pull that number in again?
At the end, there's a little flyer that shows you the 3 different options.
Yeah, I guess I didn't get the option. So I'm with you.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't-
Anne Lee was getting stuff and she's like, you gotta sign up, and I was like, I'm signed up, I'm not
Me
getting
too.
it, but there's
Okay.
just other things that you need to sign up for if you wanna get.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get it. I'll go back in.
There's signing up, which is an 896 number, and then there's reporting. If you want to communicate with the town. That's when you text this number 970-540-5550. That is our dedicated line for Text My Gov. You simply text the word hi to it, and then you can put in keywords. Here's an example of signing up right here. The only info, I texted it, and it says, do you wish to sign up? Yes, yes, I did. You successfully opted in. And here's an example of an alert that went out. South side of town hall parking lot will be closed. Here's another one on Second and Third Street will be closed. This is the type of information we send out. So when you text that full phone number, you can put in keywords like pothole, water leak, and it'll start a conversation with you, asking more information. And you can also text and upload pictures if you need it. And I'll show you an example of that as well.
So we can't push stuff towards the other one, but we can push stuff towards this.
Yes. Yes, especially if you want to report an issue. And like we've had reports of water leaks this way as well. Here's an example of the dashboard here. Where these are the calls or text messages that have come in. And we can click on a little eyeball to actually look at them and respond to them if we need to. These are the number of conversations that the person had, like Miss Pickup. Here's another example where someone reported a sidewalk needed shoveled. And we had a conversation, they had a conversation, they uploaded some pictures and you can see here, it went into the Paonia mailbox. It was moved over to pending. Once that was completed, it moved over to completed. But we sent out emergency alerts, community updates. We hope that once we involve with the Great Coalition, we'll start pushing out more events that way as well. Service reminders about the holidays and trash being on Tuesday. And we can also support voice calls now, which means instead of getting a text message, you get an automated, recording from us. Hey, your trash is going to be picked up on Tuesday. But we don't like it because it mispronounces Paonia all the time. It's an AI, but it doesn't know how to say Paonia. They tell us they can teach it, but we'll get there. But right now. Sure. Stop sharing over here and I'll share it from my laptop. All right. We have here is the main setup for Text My Gov. We have the greeting message. When anyone texts us, we can modify that. Unrecognized, which means it doesn't know how to respond. Similar matches and images.
This is what you see on your.
This is what I see on my, yes.
How does a person know about all these different options? Is there a page on the website that lists all the communication options?
It'll be in the flyer, but the way a conversation is initiated, we set up what they call a flow. That has like, say, go back to categories here. Sewer, snow removal, STR, street, and those feed the flows. Which we can create steps on how to respond to someone like, if someone missed sewer, sewer collapse or backup, the next question is gonna ask, what's the address? And then you get the address, the next prompt will be, please explain what's going on. And then your name, and then you can upload an image if you want. We have the same thing for snow removal, STR issue, street. And there's a few other categories in here.
How often are we getting alerts or notifications from the public through this versus other means for the same type of like emergency stuff?
I'm not sure. So I can look at it. I gotta stop sharing because it'll list the phone numbers. So it's not-
Yeah.
What's your question?
It's like how, what, just your estimation of like how often or what percentage of folks are using that method versus just emailing or calling?
Not many.
Okay,
Like I said, I wish there were more
yeah,
because it's so easy to do and use after hours, especially.
and it's cut down your time because there's some.
Exactly.
Some more
Not only
information.
got Christie, she can answer the phones, but Athena and I would be, we had like, we're close to 400 calls the last 2 weeks. And so pulling us off what we were doing to answer a phone call about, what the new trash pickup schedules are or whatever.
Yeah.
It does take away from our time and working on other things. But I would say in May, we've only gotten 3 requests
Through that.
through text message.
Well, these are really cool tools and I don't want to overstep my bounds as a trustee, but I'd be happy to put together some graphics using my marketing background to help distribute this information more broadly and hopefully get some more people signed up.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if you wouldn't mind visiting, maybe, well, Stefan will be back tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know if Ruben wants to be that person, but let me talk to Stefan.
Okay.
And because you've always been in the back of our mind, your marketing expertise, that we could certainly use that expertise. So let me talk to Stefan.
Okay.
And I'll have him get back to you.
Sure.
Because it seems like, yeah, the outreach for this.
And to answer your question.
Yeah.
On the screen here is the 3 different categories that you can sign up for. We got Paonia Info, which is our generic notification. You might have signed up for Paonia Notices. That's for like public hearings and things like that. And then Paonia Street is specific to street closures.
So here's my question. When you open up the Town of Paonia's website, there's always that message.
Yes.
And it's that number, whatever that number is, I can't read it. And that's what I did way back when, but I wasn't given 3 options, so I should just do it again.
Yeah.
And ignore it when it says we already have one.
Go for the Paonia Info. That's the most common one.
But it's all gonna be the same number that I'm texting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same problem. We didn't have the options.
Yeah.
We're longtime users. And we missed some of the bells and whistles, so I'll go back in and do
Yeah,
that.
and I did leave some of these flyers in there.
Okay. I'll grab one.
Yeah, and all you have to do is you can just scan that QR code and send the text. It automatically composes a text for you. And all you do is hit send. And then it'll prompt you back to, you want to opt in? Yes or no?
That's great. Yeah, I think, we just gotta keep pumping it out.
Yeah.
Because, it's been a while since people seen it. You guys are busy, you got plenty of other stuff to do, so I'm happy to help get that message out broadly.
Yeah. And because we're a small municipality, they gave us a bit more features than that most of the larger organizations would get. Because we're so small, we could use them, like that voice thing. Doesn't work.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Great. Any other questions?
Just one,
Yeah.
if folks want to put in a public comment, like what happens at the start of the meeting about and add something to the agenda, what's the best pathway for them to use?
I mean, we added some new things to the website.
So I've been sending people to the portal online on the agenda and meeting minutes website page.
Which is gonna get moved. I think that's in the works to get that portal more visible.
on the top and on the side.
Mhm.
Cheers. Okay, so before the mayor and I discussed this, the communication was buried, honestly, it was buried in the town board. Down here toward it, town board agendas and packets. If you saw this, you wouldn't think to scroll down even further, but there's a full contact form down here.
Trustee Ostrander was the one that pointed it out to me. I went, oh my gosh, I forgot that was even there.
What we did, I want to contact Jack.
Great.
This gives you our contact information and a web form. I'll go directly to Pam in your mailbox. I also updated the footers and the contact. I have the contact form. Will take you directly to here. So no matter where you are on the website,
Excellent.
you'll have a way to get to us, contact form.
And then the other thing, you were asking about if somebody wants to get on the agenda.
Yes.
Could you go to the I want to drop down? There is a specific form to fill out to get on the agenda. I can't read it. Is it still there? It should be.
Maybe under government.
Anyway. Is it on the
I
agenda?
think maybe we should duplicate this or.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too,
want to-
because I feel like I saw it under the other one.
Yeah.
So there's actually a form, some information in it.
So there are a variety of ways to get in touch for a variety of different things. We have the tools, it's just about consolidating, presenting and pushing it out in a way that's intuitive and marketable. Is that, yeah. Okay, cool, thank you.
Well, we're trying to make it a bit more visible.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought the maybe floating thing there would be kind of obvious, but. It's just me. Sorry.
you know, it's when you're busy and you're looking for something, if it doesn't jump out at you, it's hard to find it. So thank you for showing us and for starting the process of making it more visible and I look forward to Emily seeing what you come up with, administrator.
And we're not closed off to any suggestions that might improve communications at all. I mean, you accept them.
Yeah, thank you.
And just one last question, who does the Paonia, town of Paonia go to?
It's the floor staff. It's a shared mailbox.
It's not like a automatic redirect to someone.
No.
We don't receive that either. Okay.
That's what I meant, that the 4 authorized individuals disseminate who it goes to. And if they don't know, they ask anyone else.
Right. And we have those 4 just because when I first got here, number one, we didn't even know that email existed until somebody brought it to our attention. And then after somebody goes on vacation or they're home sick for a day or something like that, things get missed. That's why we have multiple staff members that check it throughout the day.
This actually reminds me of something, Mayor Page, that we spoke about, which is, and you brought up, oh, we got 400 calls in the last 2 weeks. Is there an avenue or could we make an avenue for you guys to sort of report? Like, how do we understand as trustees, like if there's,
issues are.
what the issues are, if there's a lot of noise about something? If you got a lot of phone calls about, I'd be curious to know, like, what are the top 5 phone calls that we received? Maybe stray cats are in the, top 5, I don't know. I'm just curious, like, is there an avenue? And I'm not trying to make more work, I'm trying to streamline the, like, what the issues are, how those issues come in. Thank you for showing us how you process them and then how we understand if something is relevant, because just knowing that you had to field 400 calls while you're also fielding an inbox, while you're also doing all these other things helps us understand, both what the issues are with the community, but also what you guys are dealing with as staff.
I would imagine some of that comes up in the staff reports, but not necessarily the phone calls, but what the upcoming issues are or what have been the issues. Do you think there's something that the administrator
Yeah, could that be in the
Just
administrator's
kind of
report?
report on what's, because I have a feeling when when we have a holiday, trash is a lot. It's kind of a cause and effect of a lot of calls. Would that be an accurate assessment or
maybe in the past, but I think over the last 2 years, people have gotten familiar with how it works. But those that are fairly new, we still push it out through Facebook and.
I guess I'm just kind of wondering with trustee Ostrander, what 400 phone calls were about? And she's
Right.
wondering
A
what,
lot of building permits, a lot of questions about utility bills.
oh,
I think those are the two most
pretty
common.
standard. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that might be good to know.
I think also because sometimes people, I'll tell people, oh, please send it in through the portal, and then I'll never know if they got a response, and I'll see them again, and I'll be like, did it work?
Take, for example, the Christopher Zonik that spoke earlier today about the neighbor's basement flooding. We received voice notes over the weekend. They were forwarded to Public Works. She called in 3 or 4 times today as well. This is all noted in communication over Public Works as well. After that, you can't. What we told her is that it's out of our hands. It's in Public Works hands at this point. There's nothing as admin staff can do for her. That's what was said.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I guess that's a great example, and just, and how we have a process for that. Cause we're so small, it's like just, oh, Ruben told me, which is great, thank you, but also, is there a process that we can have?
there is, and it may seem amorphous, but it's really not, because things generally fit in very clear categories that match with job descriptions. So it's usually very easily to type, oh, new title or lease that goes to FEMA. Building permit questions go to FEMA, anything clerk related goes to Sam or Ruben, depending, they split that up, and we usually have to ask who it goes to. But it is very clear for most of it who it goes to, and then a lot of stuff goes to Public Works. And we do those, text or email to them right away.
So I'll find out from Public Works and let the trustees know about the water in the basement. We'll talk about it later. And I know Steph will be back tomorrow too, and he's aware of it too.
Before you segue off this, part of the prime minister's report was an update on the Smith Center. If you want it.
Yes, that's, if you're ready, if you're finished on Ruben's Text My Gov, we have one more small report under administrator. It's from Athena about the Hanson Center.
Just one more, if there are general themes to the calls that would be helpful to communicate in mass about, please also let me know about that, because I could also,
I do have several lists of like, hey, do I need a building permit map that I've been trying to build trees for, so that we can have a flyer about that? That'd be great. It just ends up getting pushed down and down and down as more important things come up.
totally. But could,
The common questions that. Answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can get together and work on that.
You would give us the update.
So the update,
Hanson specific.
so the beginning of this is just kind of the context, including the dates that the board approved, and then there's the list of repairs that's for the contractor, which is the piece we haven't settled yet. We made phone calls on Friday, and we have 3 people happy to bid for it, that they're gonna get in contact sometime this week. I think I'm gonna send them all a package with pictures and lists, and then a couple of them wanna go into the building to look. Those are the costs that have already been spent on the top. So Alpha Plumbing and Heating is $3,500. Black Canyon Electric did a full day and a half out there, investigating all of the electric and what was going on with it, and then pulled all the relevant codes and put it together in this big package for the board. FaceCon did our initial mold testing. We were gonna have them be asbestos testing, but Serpro does it for cheaper, and since that's who we selected to do the remediation anyway, it just made sense to go with them. There is no asbestos, found out this morning. Yay. And then the other half of that Serpro expense is known, it's going to happen. And then the AB Electric bid we accepted, and that is their estimate of 7.3. So the total running so far of money that either is tagged to be spent directly or already spent is $31,920.22. And the general contractor hopefully should, unless something really weird happens, which it shouldn't, be able to fit well within that $50,000 budget. I think the big item in that is going to be putting screws every 6 inches along the giant ceiling. Serpro did start this morning. on the mold remediation.
Yay.
Yay, yep.
How do you feel in terms of through it being finished?
So they estimated 5 days of work. And all the, we should have bids for, by the latest, I'm guessing, middle of next week. And all of them know our due date and all of them are willing to work to make sure it gets done by the end of June.
And if you'll just report at the next meeting, sure, give us an update, that'd be great. Any other questions for Athena on Smith Center? Good, great, thank you for doing that. All right, we will move on to the actions and presentations. And our first presentation is an update on the Gunnison Outdoor Resources Protection Act, which known as GORP, from the Western Slope Conservation Center. And Melissa has a PowerPoint. Come on up and let us know what's going on. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
You want to just introduce yourself?
Yep, absolutely. Let me make sure I have the clicker down first. Doing something wrong?
You say it.
Okay, all right, excellent. Well, good evening and thank you all for allowing me to be here to present and for hearing what I have to share on the GORP Act. My name is Melissa Newell, as Paige said, and I work as the advocacy coordinator with the Western Slope Conservation Center. I'm sure most of you are familiar, but if not, you hear us referred to as WSCC around town. We're a conservation nonprofit that's been based here in Paonia since 1977, so going on 50 years, with the mission of protecting and enhancing the lands, air, wildlife, and water of the Lower Gunnison Basin. And one of the campaigns that we've been working on for the last few years is the GORP Act, so Gunnison Outdoor Resources Protection Act. And tonight I'm here to present a general overview because I understand that it's new for some of you. There are some new trustees, but some of you are very familiar with it. So I'm also going to be going over kind of next steps and where the campaign is now and how we can support it if you'd like. So what is the GORP Act? So in short, the tagline that we've given the campaign is Homegrown Conservation for the Gunnison Basin. And it is sorry. So it is a bipartisan piece of legislation that would offer permanent protection to over 730,000 acres of existing public lands in the Lower Gunnison Basin. So those lands include lands in 5 counties here in Western Colorado. Most of the land, though, is located in Gunnison County, just over 600,000 acres, and then also in Delta County. So about close to 124,000 acres, and the GORP Act are here in Delta County. So the GORP Act protects what makes the Gunnison Basin unique. It's working landscapes, the wildlife habitat, the waterways, and the outdoor opportunities, while continuing to support at the same time the local economy and the traditional land uses here. Specifically, it designates public lands. What that means is that the legislation designates a suite of special management areas, conservation areas, recreation management areas, wilderness areas, wildlife conservation areas. And it does this while keeping in mind the values that are important to the communities that are coming up with this legislation, which I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment, the collaborative roots of it. And also it takes into consideration the current existing uses of these lands. It also safeguards the ecological health of the lands. It does this by promoting climate resilience and also by protecting critical lands here in Delta County from oil and gas development. And again, I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then finally, it supports long-term economic resilience, and it does this in a few different ways by protecting local ranching. It does this by securing grazing access, linking healthy public lands with conserved private lands, and protecting water quality. It also provides certainty for the region's renowned recreational opportunities. This means that the lands that are included in this legislation, it's not going to affect current mountain biking trails or motorized use trails, so that's summer and winter. And then it also sustains the tourism economy that we all know Delta County is becoming increasingly dependent on with the increased recreation opportunities here. So as I mentioned, there are some Delta County specific provisions in the legislation, and this is new as of April 2024. So the last time someone from WSCC came to talk to the board, it was in August of 24.
shortly after the legislation had been changed to include these Delta County provisions. But just as a reminder, what these provisions include are North Fork Valley watershed withdrawal. So that would prevent just over 74,000 acres of land from having any future oil and gas development on them. This applies to most surface managed BLM areas in the valley, including Jumbo Mountain, as well as the town of Paonia, the source water areas. Another provision is that there would be no surface occupancy in the Jemog National Forest. So this includes the roadless areas that are up in our upper watershed. So Elk Park, Electric Mountain, and Current Creek. And then finally, it would allow for boat ramp access, public boat ramp access in perpetuity at Pleasure Park. So in your packets, I believe you should have a map of the Borp Act legislation area, which you can probably make out a little bit better than this slide right now. But I did want to mention, although these areas are not directly in Delta County, they do have a critical impacts to us here in this valley, in Paonia especially, because these are protected lands that are in the upper North Fork Valley watershed, which we all know is a very sensitive area. These areas include, there are two wilderness additions, so the Lamborn Wilderness Addition, the Erickson Springs. So these are already existing wilderness areas. These additions would just be an expansion of those areas. There's
the dark green addition.
Yeah, so you see, yeah, thanks. So on the left side, that's the Delta County area where you see kind of the area, and then the Lamborn is like that dark kind of olive green color. Yeah, and that's the new. Yeah, that's the expansion, the addition. Yep, exactly. There would be 3 special management areas that are would affect us here in the North Fork Valley. So there's a Pilot Knob, Clear Fork, and Backwood special management area. We also have 1 recreation management area, the Horse Ranch Park. There over the Cowboy Pass area, and then 1 wildlife conservation area, and this is Muncie Creek. And again, in your packets, should be included a list of the designations and what all those designations entail, so that you can read more about those and what that all means without taking up too much of your time this evening. Wanted to mention a brief history of the legislation as well as where we are now. So in 2014, the Gunnison Public Lands Initiative, which you'll hear called GPLI, was formed in Gunnison County. This brought together a diverse group of stakeholders. So there were 10 groups representing all different interests. So there was motorized users, there were ranchers, conservationists, government entities, everybody came together. Around the same time, so in 2013, here in the North Fork, came together. Many of you probably remember, and came together with these community conversations and formed what came to be known as the North Fork Alternative Plan. Then in 2019, the GPLI released what was to be the first iteration of the Borp Act. And then in 2024, I've mentioned this year a few times now, this is when the legislation changed and it came to include the Delta County provisions. Again, that's the last time that we came and talked to you all and gave you an update. In April of that year is when these new provisions were adopted, and the Delta County Board of County Commissioners, they formally offered their support to this piece of legislation. By then, there was already support from 5 other counties, as well as local municipalities, including the town of Paonia. That included in your board packet is the town of Paonia, the letter of support from 2024. We also had submitted one in 2022 as well. And then in May of last year, the legislation was formally introduced to Congress. And so this is new for everyone. So this happened on Public Lands, Colorado Public Lands Day last year, May of 2025. And what's notable here is that it now has bipartisan support from Representative Jack Byrd, who introduced it into the House of Representatives, as well as from both of our Colorado Democratic senators, so Bennett and Hickenlooper. Also Joe Goose from Boulder, he was one of the representatives that introduced it, co-sponsored it with Representative Hurd in the House. Also want to mention here that Congress is the only entity that can provide permanent protection to these lands. So that's why this path is necessary rather than trying to get protection through a federal agency. So talking a little bit about the path forward. So most public lands legislation takes many years to get a congressional hearing and to make its way through Congress. So we are patient. Even once they're introduced, that at least take years to get through. Right now, it's not a very favorable environment in Congress right now for passing such legislation. But so we're not anticipating a hearing in this session, but we do anticipate this happening in the future. And so I want to note here that there are 50+ public lands bills that are awaiting a hearing in Congress, which means that there are several hundred representatives that are supporting these public lands bills, which signals a really broad base of support for public lands initiative in Congress once it is a more favorable environment to having these hearings. So in the meantime, it's really important that we build momentum around the campaign and that we build a strong foundation of support, especially in communities like Pamia that are directly impacted by this legislation. And so the campaign, the campaign coalition, I should say, which WSCC is a part of, along with a couple of other conservation organizations, what we're intending to do right now through the rest of this year is to continue to engage our congressional delegation members. And so this we're doing in a variety of ways. We, as some of you may know, we recently did the DC fly-in, the annual fly-in, which this was the 14th year running, but we went to Washington, DC. Our organization, 5 representatives from the Valley, from Delta County, when we talked with our representatives, we presented them with a BORP business letter of support, which I'll talk more about in a moment. But we're going to be continuing that into years, down the road, but also inviting our representatives for site visits here in the Valley, getting them on the ground to see these landscapes that we're trying to protect. We're hoping to maintain support from local officials and municipalities. So again, that's where Town of Pamia kind of falls under that umbrella. We, as I mentioned, you all have submitted a letter of support in the past, and we would love to have a renewed letter of support. This time, not just addressing Senator Bennett as we have in the past, but also letting Representative Hurd know that this is good for this area, protecting these lands from oil and gas, as well as protecting these recreational and other grazing and tourism economic opportunities here available to us. And then finally, we are hoping to maintain, grow, and demonstrate stakeholder support with our business partners, our user groups, our non-governmental organizations, and the general public. And I mentioned business partners earlier. So earlier this year, we did get a business letter of support that was signed by 112 businesses in Western Colorado. 70% of those businesses were located here in Delta County. And we were able to bring that letter to our representatives when we went to DC and present them with this letter. Again, just demonstrating not just how much we love our public lands and having them intact and healthy, but also the economic impact that having these healthy public lands is having on our communities here on the Western Slope. So other ways that we intend to maintain the support amongst the general public, we're doing a lot of tabling this summer. We're doing the presentations like this. We are robust media campaign. You might follow us on social media, and then lots of partnership opportunities and events. Thank you. He's my backup. And with that, I just want to thank you all again for giving me some time tonight and allowing me to present, for listening. And I welcome any questions if there's time for that, or I put my email address up here if anyone would like to follow up with me after the meeting.
There's a moment if any trustee has a question, and I might ask if anybody in the audience has a question for Melissa as well. Anybody sitting up here have a question?
Does the no surface occupancy designation allow for horizontal drilling underneath?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So it's the no surface occupancy, it limits the superficial infrastructure. So that's, yeah. And so the legislation would not allow for it doesn't affect any existing rights. So that's grazing, water, mining, things that are already grandfathered in essentially.
Other questions? Anyone from the audience have a question for Melissa? Yeah. Coming up and I'm letting you step aside
Sure.
just to answer the question. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just had a question about.
Sure, go ahead.
There was something that you said, and then I'm looking at the map and I just am a little confused. You had said something about protecting watersheds within the Paonia area. But if I'm looking at that map correctly, there's a line where Delta County hits and that left cross is surface occupancy, oil and gas extraction.
So meaning that the area, so I'm sorry, can you? say
So I
that?
guess there are some areas that are in that are still, our water flows through those areas. Our spring water flows
Yeah,
through that, and so that is not protected. Currently, it's actually designated as an area for extraction. Is that what
The
this map
areas-
is saying?
and on the left side here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so those areas would be designated no surface occupancy, so if there are existing rights, then those would not be affected.
So the no surface occupancy is the top area, but the lower area appears to be an oil and gas withdrawal area.
Yeah, this is,
No surface occupancy.
I thought this was no surface occupancy. On the map key that you have farther down.
It is, you're right, up there, yeah, and then
so
this
then-
is the
So
mineral
this is,
withdrawal.
right, but this is still in our water pattern for our springs. Just want to
This is the
clarify.
withdrawal, so there would be no new releases allowed in here if the legislation were to pass.
I see.
Yeah, does that?
That is
question, okay, thank you, yeah.
So then if you'll just hang out there and Marty, if you want to come up and ask the question.
My question is, did you say 50 bills in that are waiting?
Yes.
I thought that's what you said. So these are all conservation bills from all the country.
They're public land specific.
Thanks. Anyone else in the audience for the question for Melissa? Nobody online? Okay, thanks, Melissa, very much.
Thanks for your time.
We'll talk. So we have another presentation and Jenny Godwin is on Zoom, I think. Hi, Jenny.
Yes, I am. Hello, good evening.
Town has hired Consor Engineering to do our safe routes for all census of our streets and sidewalks. And they have been working on this, I don't know for how many months, but Jenny's gonna give us a presentation on where they are with our comprehensive safety action plan. So I will turn it over to you, Jenny.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so just for an introduction, I'm a transportation planner with Contra Engineers, based out of Denver. But we do have a great project team behind us as well, the folks here on the slide. So Alta Planning and Design, GBSM and SGM, who I believe is working pretty closely with the town already in an engineering capacity. So just a little background on that. And I know Stefan's been providing updates to the board throughout, but just wanted to take a little time to provide a status update and sort of preview where we're going next. So this is what I'll cover today. So you can go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, and you can move to the next as well. So we'll start with project background, just a little bit of an introduction. So the plan itself, the CSAP or Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, is really rooted in addressing transportation-related fatalities and serious injuries within town boundaries. So there's a lot of important elements to this plan I'll walk through in detail in the next few slides, but the goal really overall is to create a safer roadway network for all users, whether they're biking or walking or driving or however they're getting around town. And really making it safer and more efficient for everyone to get around safely. So the CSAP itself is a planning effort that has a really pretty robust background nationwide. So it's a US DOT Safe Streets and Roads for All funding effort that really is rooted in data gathering and data analysis and really pairing that with community feedback. So that graphic on the side there, the safe systems approach, is one of those sort of grounding philosophies, thinking through all of the ways that we ensure that our transportation networks are safe for everyone. So I'll walk through some of these elements on the next few slides, but really the goal of the CSAP is to develop a really actionable plan, right? Versus something that maybe sits on the shelf and doesn't have immediate next steps. We're really planning to set the town up for being able to position for future funding opportunities and really understand next steps and strategies to move towards a safer network in the future. So I wanted to share some of the goals for this plan that we developed with town staff. So we had a kickoff meeting in person in March. We walked around town together, did sort of a site walk, talked through the plan and what goals staff have in order to make sure this is successful. So I just wanted to bring some of those back to you tonight. So there's about 10 goals on the next few slides. The first one being, as I mentioned earlier, really pursuing or positioning the town to be able to pursue outside funding through some of the prioritized projects and strategies outlined in this plan. Grounding it in really creating safer roads for everyone, sidewalks being an important piece, so wanting to look at those in detail and understand how to ensure there's a usable and maintainable network long term. We were working closely during this kickoff with PD and fire, as well as public works. So another element that came up was really wanting to overall reduce the calls that PD are responding to on the transportation network. A few other goals, wanting to really generate a list of priority projects. So again, kind of understanding next steps and what are those highest and best use of funds. Thinking about utilities and wanting to address kind of street functionality and how all those elements kind of sync together. Wanting to, of course, ensure that EMS access is maintained. So, of course, not recommending anything that would have any kind of hindrance to those folks getting to where they need to go. And then I really like this one. Something we came back to is wanting recommendations to be realistic, not just aspirational. So really wanting to set goals that are achievable. And the next slide, I'll walk through kind of high-level project schedule and scope, and we'll talk through a couple more of these elements in more detail as well. So this is sort of big picture where we're heading to. So this plan, we launched back in March with our kickoff and are looking to, in about a year's time, coming with a final plan to this board for adoption. So lots of pieces and parts along the way to get us there. I'll walk through the 2 phases of outreach we have planned on the next few slides. And we note here we have 3 other updates planned to town board before that adoption, so you'll definitely be hearing from us again, and we'll be sort of sharing updates as we go. Okay, so next I just wanted to walk through a couple of the critical elements of the CSAP, and this does tee up as well some of the pieces we'll be coming to you with in the coming months for review. So something we're working on currently is an existing plans review. So really analyzing existing plans and policies that the town's developed to make sure our recommendations are rooted in any recommendations that are already tied into those efforts. So for example, we'll be looking at the ADA transition plan that was just recently drafted, the Parks, Recreation and Trails Master Plan, and a few other critical ones as well. For that crash analysis piece, we're analyzing the latest 10 years of CDOT crash data and comparing that with Pioneer PD's crash data set. So I'll talk about that in a preview of what we've seen from that analysis so far, but that's our main important piece we're working on right now. And that will lead into 2 elements I'll talk about on the next slide, which is the high injury network and the high risk network. And all of these are part of a systemic analysis of the system. So really understanding what's happening where and why as well. So understanding those factors. So I'll just take a minute to explain these 2 terms that often come up in CSAP development. So the first is the high injury network. So that's really focused on addressing the crashes that have occurred to date. So really diving into the crash data, understanding where those those top crash locations, what does the crash data tell us about why and when these crashes are happening. The high risk network is more of a proactive piece, so really wanting to prevent the crashes of tomorrow from even happening. So identifying locations where we know there's a high risk based on certain roadway characteristics that are showing up in the high injury network crash data, or that we're hearing from community members are causing them to feel unsafe. So that'll be sort of the second data piece we'll be delivering as well. Okay, so another really critical component of any good planning effort, right, is engaging with the community. So we have a public involvement plan we've drafted and reviewed with staff that is our guiding document as we move through the next couple phases of engagement. So the PIP, as we call it, really helps us define who to engage. So whether that's residents or businesses, partners, folks that are visiting town for events. It outlines what strategies and activities we'll employ to make sure engagement is happening and that it's effective. And it also helps us outline how input will ultimately shape the plan and different deliverables that come out of it, clarifying phases and roles and responsibilities for each of those different groups. So we're planning 2 phases of engagement. We're just about to kick off phase 1. So phase 1 is really listening and learning from the community. We'll be doing that through sort of end of this summer, really understanding what people's concerns are, sharing some initial ways to provide input. And then we'll come back in fall time for more of a reflection and diving in deeper. So reflecting on what we've heard, sharing sort of what we're seeing as priorities and draft recommendations and getting some feedback at that point. So based on feedback from town staff, we're planning a hybrid approach for engagement. So both in-person and online activities, and also pairing those online, or I should say maybe the in-person activities with printed materials as well. So folks want to kind of digest things a little bit longer, offering avenues to do that and making sure that we're providing a really inclusive experience there. So for our phase 1, which is launching soon, we'll be starting with some online materials. So there'll be an input map where folks can kind of drop a pin on a map to show an area of concern and provide some more feedback, and also a quick survey they can fill out there. And that will be paired with some in-person pop-up events. So we're planning to come to some local events in town, still dialing down which, but we're thinking it might be Cherry Days or Picking in the Park. Some of the events we've heard from staff are good places to reach folks. And then also working with a focus group that we're starting to develop a list of that we can get some more deeper in-person feedback from over the summer as well. And then one other group we're engaging with I wanted to highlight. We've scheduled a monthly PMT series that we launched last month, where we're working with Delta County and CDOT staff, and also Delta County School District, as well as town staff, to go into detail on some of the recommendations we're developing and get kind of feedback at touch points monthly throughout the project. So those folks will be helping us with outreach. They'll be reviewing our materials, helping coordinate with key bodies, attending meetings and events and promoting those as they're able, and really helping advise us on what they're hearing from the community from their various viewpoints. Okay, so kind of bringing a lot of these pieces together, I just wanted to walk through a couple of the elements we'll be delivering as part of the CZAP. So as I mentioned, we're in that kind of data collection analysis piece right now. And we'll be developing a couple pieces that'll feed into the CZAP, like the countermeasures toolbox. So working with town staff to understand what are the appropriate types of improvements we would recommend, really prioritizing those projects, as I mentioned. And one thing I do want to highlight here, which I think will be an important component as well, is the priority project design plans. So these will be some kind of concept planning level plans that will have cost estimates that can help advance some of these priority projects to design. So a lot of grant applications, for example, want sort of proof of concept to be able to submit and successfully be funded. So that will tee up the town for some of these priority projects to move them ahead to the next steps. And then one last piece I'll mention in terms of the CZAP is that DOT has 7 elements for a CZAP to be considered compliant and successful. So I wanted to highlight the first one here because it's something we'll be partnering with the board on, is leadership, commitment, and goal setting. So that's something that DOT asks communities that are developing CZAPs to basically publicly commit to an eventual goal of 0 roadway fatalities and set some targets along the way for how that will be achieved. So that's something we'll be coming back with staff to you on in the coming months, probably later this year, early next, to just talk through what might be most feasible there. But these other 6 elements will also feed into a successful plan. Okay, so I did want to just preview with you all a little bit of what we're seeing from the crash data so far. So I'll note we have a 10-year analysis window, so kind of the 10 latest years of crash data from 2016 to 2025. We've been working closely with PD to acquire anonymized crash reports as well. So we're still in kind of the early phase of sorting through that, but did want to just share what we're seeing to date. So we started with CDOT's crash database, and there are 46 crashes that are within town boundaries that are in that database, and we were able to link almost all of those, 45 of the 46, to a crash and Paonia PD's list as well. PD's list also is more robust than CDOT, so there are crashes listed there that are not in CDOT's database. So we're filling in those gaps with that additional great info that PD's already captured there as well, mining through those police reports that they provided. So a few of our next steps on that, we are refining our coordinate data, so really dialing in so we know the exact location of where these crashes occurred, and starting to dig into the details to understand better what happened and why. And that will be paired with that upcoming community engagement I mentioned to understand, in addition to where crashes have occurred, where folks traveling around town might feel unsafe for various reasons. So gathering a bit more information on that piece as well to feed into our high risk network factors we'll be developing. And then the map on the next slide is, of course, very preliminary. You can see a lot of blue there on the unknown severity, but now that we have gotten all of the crash reports from PD as of last Friday, we're able to dive in and we'll be dialing down these crashes to understand the exact severity level. So whether it was a fatal, serious injury, minor injury, or property damage only crash, and that will inform our recommendations and next steps out of that piece. So lastly, just wanted to highlight a few next steps. So we're developing the online input map and survey, and that'll be launching next month. So we'll be sure to share that link with the town board once it's available, and would appreciate your support sharing that with the community. We'll be launching our in-person engagement probably in early July, and be in town for some of those events to gather feedback in person. And then, of course, crash data analysis. So we're scoped to come back to town board next in fall. And at that point, we anticipate we'll be sharing what we heard from phase 1 outreach, diving further into our crash data pieces, including the high risk network and high injury network, and a bit of an update perhaps on prioritization as well if we've gotten to that phase, or if not, that will be in the next update. And that is all I have. I would love to take any questions you have.
Any questions from the trustees? Yes.
What's the current data through? Because I didn't see that fatality listed in there that we had earlier this year by the library.
Yeah, yes, good point. So that fatality is definitely in the data set. It was just one of those crashes that was in PD's database where we didn't have a severity level coded yet as of last Tuesday when I created this PowerPoint, but as of Friday, we do have that information. So that is included and will be listed on the map.
Okay, great. Second question. Have you screened it all for animal related crashes? Like deer?
Yeah, great question. That I would say that is a typical like crash category in CDOT's database, and I would imagine the same for PD. So that is definitely something we'll be looking into. And if that's being highlighted as a pretty common crash type, then that's something we'll be developing specific recommendations for.
Great. I would just say please reference the comprehensive plan, because the community did have a fair amount of thoughts on pathways for children and for animals in the town that came through in the comprehensive plan.
Great. Thank you for mentioning that. That is one of the ones we're looking at for that existing plans memo that we're developing, but we'll be sure to take a close look at that. Thanks for mentioning it.
Other questions from the trustees? I have one, and it's when you do your online input map survey, are you going to be working with the town staff? Because the town does surveys multiple ways. I think we'd have MyGov, and we've used SurveyMonkey pretty successfully. And I wondered if you all have talked about the tools to use to get this maximum outreach.
Yeah, great question. I appreciate that. We talked about having, I'm not remembering the exact name of the page, but an existing town page that hosts kind of like ongoing projects and activities that we could provide some background information on, list where we're kind of what events we'll be at, and then link to a survey from there. We talked about using Qualtrics. That's just a tool kind of similar to SurveyMonkey we've used previously, but we're very happy to use a different tool if the town feels that SurveyMonkey or another one might be a better fit.
Thank you. I know that'll be part of the conversation. So any questions for Jenny from anybody in the audience? Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom with a hand up? Don't see it. So Jenny, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing more.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. And before, I should have said, when this started, this project was funded by the Federal Highway Association. This is one of our 2 grants we have from the federal office, Department of Transportation, which is pretty amazing to have that. It's a wonderful, much needed thing. So thanks, everybody. And We'll now move on to our next item, which is item number 3, which is we are back to considering resolution 04/2026, appointment of officers. And Better is going to open this up, but I wanted to be sure that we have our judge here, Julie Huffman, is here to introduce herself. So I don't know, Sam, would you like to have her introduce herself now? Do you want to do a little background description? Okay. Oh, no, Julie, and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation this evening. For those of you who I haven't met yet, Julie Huffman. I've been the town judge since July of 2020. Was a really fun time for all of us. Really enjoy the position, have enjoyed working with the various council members and staff that have come through during that time. The town clerk Joanne is amazing. She's my right hand gal. And of course, our law enforcement officers are excellent. And it's been really exciting to see them fully staffed and just humming along. So I'm happy to continue serving, of course, at the will of the trustees. And if you have any questions for me, if you have any questions about my background or anything like that, happy to answer that.
Yeah. And questions from the trustees? For Julie. Okay, any questions for Julie from anybody in the audience? Okay, for nobody online, thank you very much for coming and introducing yourself. Tell me, when is court normally?
We hold court on the first Thursday of the month. And we've moved that docket to 3 p.m. in case we have any juveniles. That gives us some time to get the juveniles here without them missing school. So right now that is our current docket.
Thank you, and happens right here.
Right here, yeah.
Thanks. So I'll turn it over to you for a little background.
Yeah, so sorry I didn't update the header on this for the correct numbering. The correct numbering is report 26-05 resolution. So we did take town administrator off of here. The public comment that we received was correct, was removed from our code in 2016. I was confused because I found a whole section on the town administrator in there. And it turns out it has to do with our purchasing policy. So, but we still need a town to appoint a town treasurer, and town clerk, and of course our town attorney as well. But you guys wanted this to come back and wanted some time to look into things, and so here it is.
Do you want to speak about treasurer or would you like me to? So we have left that blank because we weren't quite sure what to do, quite honestly. We hadn't talked to Stefan. He left for vacation and we really did not have a chance to sit down and visit with him about it. So 2 things. The first thing, before I talked to Stefan, I called, oh my gosh, her name is Maureen Trotter, and she is the person who she's with Professional Management Solutions, and she does the town's accounting and finances. She is she's between town staff and the finance committee, essentially. She makes sure everything is going from the banks into Cassell, vice versa. She is now working with our auditor. The town's 2025 audit is in full swing and going very well because we have a good template that Stefan had created. So I was asking her about the treasurer position, and she just came out and said, your administrator should be your treasurer. And she said the reason for that is the trustees really only supervise the administrator. And the trustees should be supervising the treasurer. So they really should be one in the same position, which it hadn't occurred to me how much that makes sense. So having Stefan be the treasurer is really a good idea. So when I talked to Stefan, he said, yes, for those reasons, and because the audit is going on right now, you do not want to switch treasurers while the audit is being created, and I think it's due the end of July. So it's in the works and really should not go switch persons. So his recommendation was to put him in as the treasurer, and in parentheses that we'll revisit on July 12th when his contract ends. So that's what's proposed there. And then the other folks that are listed here appointed. So with that explanation, I will turn it over to the trustees for discussion, and then I'll ask the audience.
So just for the sake of transparency, what are our other options. That's the recommendation, but is there anyone else that could be appointed? Like, I just wanted to understand the playing field, what our options are.
I would recommend not to do anybody other than Stefan at this point. For you, you're referring to treasurer?
Right,
Yeah, I would recommend not to switch.
right. I understand that that's the recommendation. I'm just, as a trustee, would like to understand what what our options are, so that if we can make the best decision by being informed.
I don't have another option for you. Other than to not appoint, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Only because he's the person who knows everything going on, and, you know, he understands the finances from beginning to end. And he's the one that created what we now, when he came in, I had no idea about this. Our audit was a complete mess. It had to be redone by the auditor. He came in and saw what was going on and worked with the auditor and with Lorraine, and we now have an audit that can it's relatively seamless to go from year to year. The information can be there. So to switch a treasurer right now would not be in the town's best interest. It really needs to be, it needs to be our person who's been working with the auditor and Lorraine.
So I guess just to weigh in here, it seems like the obvious choice, given the administrator's resignation coming up so soon in the audit process, that it does make sense to keep him in that position. However, I think to trustee Foster's point, I think it's in the future, it would be really great to be presented with options instead of just a point. And that's the option. I think because we don't have any substantial evidence right now that there's any reason why he shouldn't be. However, in general, if it's a choice that's put before us, it just should be best practice to have the alternatives present in that decision.
So I'll just say that we will have to, when Stefan's time is up, we're hoping to have an interim. And probably the recommendation, I don't know, because I don't know the interim, would be the interim. But I have to tell you, based on best practices, you really do want your administrator to be the treasurer. So we can talk about that in the future, because we're going to have, the good thing about a resolution is it's fluid. We can come back and change the resolution, which we will have to do as of in July. Because Stefan will be here. So we can definitely have that conversation again. And what I might do is have Lorraine join us, just so she can give you her input. Because
Yeah, and I think it's just like there's a difference between, are you rubber stamping something because it's the best thing to do, or do you understand the choices so that it's clearly the best thing to do? And I'm not suggesting you're rubber stamping us, I'm just saying for the sake of transparency.
And
It's
it's
just
part
nice
of
to have
our due diligence as trustees to understand and to be able to defend our vote, that we understood all aspects of it. And it wasn't just, well, this is what the recommendation is, so let's proceed.
I want you to understand, it's a very well-grounded recommendation, but we can revisit it after.
Oh, I do, I understand it, and I understand
we'll
that
get
many
more-
small towns have the same setup, especially in the area, that it's very common practice. That for administrative and oversight reasons, it makes sense. Just the question is, in the future, I'd like to request that we're presented with the options, so we can say, well, the other option is we have to hire someone that's this expensive, or like, we have to just, again, so that there's transparency into why it's the best decision.
I will ask-
Clearly, it is the best decision in this moment. There's no disagreement
Right,
there.
I'll make sure Lorraine is here to describe, because that's what she did for years. She was a finance officer in towns, et cetera. So fair enough.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, anybody in the audience with any comments? Yes, Mary, come on.
Okay. So I was on the board the last time this was a big issue, and we went through it. And we discussed many different options. At the time, Ross King, who was an ex-board member, was the treasurer, and he decided he would do it for free. Now, you were never certain as to how deeply he went into the accounting records. And so he would report to the board and just say everything's fine. But we really had no oversight as to what he was doing and how he was doing it. And then it was brought up that we hire somebody to do it, and that it would have to be somebody with significant accounting understanding to be able to go through the books of the town and then make a recommendation and say, okay, yes. And that would be extremely expensive. And we looked into that and it was extremely expensive. And it would be duplicating in a lot of ways what the town administrator is already doing, reviewing all the things, what the finance committee is already doing, reviewing all the records as well. So it's just like a duplicative position that can be covered in town. And so that's when we decided. And then we also discussed having the finance director be the treasurer as well. But that too has many problems in that they can hide stuff that you would never know because it's them saying, oh yeah, my stuff is just fine. So that's when we decided to go ahead and make the town administrator our treasurer. And this was not only a discussion with the board, we discussed it with the lawyer, we discussed it with DOLA, we discussed it with CCNA. So it wasn't just an off the cuff, we're gonna do this. It was very carefully considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Sure, come on up, Mike. And I don't, you did say your full name last time you came up, didn't you?
Yeah, Mike.
Just for the record. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to make a quick comment about your public works crew and that sidewalk project on Third Street. It didn't go exactly smoothly. There were a lot of things that popped up and it was handled very well by your crew. I just think you should know that. The notification and everything when the gas line problem stuff came up, but they did a great job taking care of that.
Thank you. It's nice for everyone to hear. We appreciate that. Anyone else? On the resolution? Anyone online? I don't see any hands. All right, well, with that in mind, given that, so let's just make clear what's gonna go next to town treasurer. It will say Stefan Nguyen and parenthetically, maybe what's the right word? It shouldn't say expires, until, what would be, Clay, what's a good word to put in there for the treasurer having a expiration date?
Temporary.
Temporary, just temporary, or do we need a date? Just be temporary?
I mean, I think that it runs. I mean, I don't know what a word would be you're looking for. Temporary,
Well, we know when he's not gonna be-
contingent, or you can just make it finite using the date clock.
Say that last part again?
You could just make it a finite appointment, say that, this is a finite appointment to
July
the set
12th.
end date till
Okay.
July, I think it is.
So is that reasonable to everybody? Well, Stefan Nguyen in parenthetically, what did you just say? Until
July 12th.
Yeah, until July 12th. Okay. Finite. Well, it probably needs to be in the motion, what's gonna go in that slot. That's why I'm being prescriptive about. Right, so, continues until July 12th. Is that word?
Finite appointment until July 12th, 2025.
Finite appointment, okay. I think that's good. So would someone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move to adopt resolution 2625 with the town treasurer being Stefan Nguyen until July 12th, 2026. And town clerk being Samara Vetter, municipal court judge Julie Hoffman, and town attorney Clay Buckner.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor? Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Okay,
Just a question.
yes, sure.
And I know this is past this agenda item, but I didn't want to make it seem like it was a problem. But because we're not allowed direct access to the town attorney, I guess I'm curious, is there a way we can get to know his background? Do we have his resume? Is there something more we can look at about him?
Yeah, I'll share what we have for Clay when he was first hired. We can share, I'll have somebody share it on me.
And then would it be appropriate if we have to direct those to the administrator or to the
Probably, if you have questions for the attorney, it'd probably be best to maybe address them to the administrator and include Sam. I'm the other person that can reach out to, but I think I'd rather it go to them, you know, just because of the trustee, everything, the elected officials deal. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next item is update on alternative security cameras. So, anything new from what's in the packet?
Sorry. I'm still typing.
We'll let you catch up. Did you get the motion?
No, I did get it. I was just taking notes, so I get stuff too. So we don't have any new information. Astonish was not able to publish that, but they did, hook us up with their vendor, IP Wide, and they're actually the ones that we went through. They helped us find a new phone system that worked for us when we moved from phones over to Astonish. So we've been spending the last little bit of time asking or answering, you know, all the little questions about what kind of storage you're looking for, indoor, outdoor cameras and stuff, and then they're sending that out to several of their vendors so we can have bids back. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get anything any faster than that, but I can tell you it's in the works and we will get it out to you. I mean, hopefully we can send out some information before the next meeting, so you guys have some time to look in it, but it would more than likely be on the next agenda.
Put it on the next agenda, yeah. And I'm really sorry that we don't have a good alternative in front of us right now. And it sounds like we have some choices, but there's two things. I wanted to let everyone know. I had Sam email all the trustees that I am now the only organization administrator for the Verkada camera system. And that came about because at the last meeting, the trustees made a motion to remove the administration staff that had access to the cameras, which was Ruben, trustee, look better, and Stephanie administrator. So then the only other organization administrator was the police department, and Matt was not comfortable doing things with staff that were not under his control. So it really left me as the only one that could do it, because I don't supervise anyone. So I am now the organization administrator. I got in there Friday a week ago and removed Sam, Stefan, and Ruben. So now, and then I also, I remember, no, you are not an organization administrator, you and I'm the only organization administrator now. Matt and Sergeant Henderson are users. So there are now 5 users, Rodney, Jordan, and Derek, and the 2 officers. So I am now at the top of the heap here, just so you know, and I'll be able to get in there to turn off cameras and shut it down, I hope, when the time comes. But the other thing I wanted to bring up is that right now, the motion was made to shut off, completely terminate the Verkada contract on 30 days from the last meeting, which I believe is June 11th. I would like to propose an alternative to this, and here's my proposal and the reason why. I think it's really important that we keep the Verkada system up and running at the water plant and the sewer plant only. Shut everything else off. Keep this contract until we have a reasonable alternative to replace them. And the reason I'm proposing this is we learned on Thursday when Dana was here that one of our biggest, most important roles as elected officials is ensuring that our water and sewer system is working. And I am very concerned that the public now knows what we're doing. And I am really concerned that if those 2 sets of cameras get shut off, the public knows it. And I feel like it's a big risk that somebody's gonna say, great, I can get in there. And I'm really concerned that that could be the case. And Jordan, can you give the anecdote of what happened yesterday?
I can. It actually, I think, occurred on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So when I showed up to the wastewater plant for my daily visit, I had thought that somebody had got into the plant, got onto our paddle boat, done something to it, And upon getting onto the cameras, I was able to find that I'm going to call it a dust devil. We can call it a cyclone. I'm not really sure how we're going to classify it. Came through and actually picked up it's probably about a 75-pound boat. Picked it up and ripped it across the grounds of the wastewater plant. And I actually tried to archive that, and if I could share my screen, I would. And it was a crazy event, but I definitely thought that it was persons that had done that from maybe the Big Bees Festival or anything else that was going on during that time.
So I just learned this from Jordan, because I mentioned this to him this morning, because the reason, so I know we don't like the cameras where the public is walking around, but the public does not walk around the water plant, nor does it walk around the sewer plants. So there's no privacy issues with people at those two locations, but we also don't want people getting in there and doing things, and not us not knowing about it. And so the other thing is, it does worry me about Big Bees. It is Woodstock there every weekend, and there are only 2 fences between all those campers that are parked up. Then there's 30 acres, and then it's the sewer plant, and there are only 2 fences keeping those people out. And I'm just very concerned that if we don't have any remote eyes on those 2 facilities, we are putting the town's critical infrastructure at risk. So my proposal is to shut all the other cameras off, keep the system going just for those 2, the cameras in those 2 areas. As soon as we have an alternative system that can work, those get shut off and we terminate the contract. So just want to offer that up for discussion. But we can still turn the other 3 off. Easily, those other can go by June 11th.
I would add to that the bulk water terminal bill too, because it has been vandalized in the past. And it is part of the water infrastructure. So I think the Public Works garage water, bulk water access should also, the camera that's there should be maintained.
I'll search,
Until we get replaced with our alternative.
and I'll leave that to y'all to discuss. But I wanted to add one more thing. When I talked to Matt Laminger today, he said he doesn't, once those cameras, the other cameras are off, he doesn't see any reason why his officers even need to have access to the system. Then it would just be down to the 3 Public Works people. Because if the Public Works people see something, they're gonna have to tell PD, and PD will then look. So then we'll be down to 3 users and me as the administrator. But as far as what you just described, that I leave that up for discussion for you all. So you wanna chime in?
It
weigh in?
seems reasonable. We really don't want to leave those structures unwatched. It makes me nervous also, to be honest. I mean, we have millions of dollars in grant money invested in this now. Much as I don't care for the Verkada system, right now I think it is helping ensure the safety of our structures. We've got very limited access now to who can see these video feeds, and Town Works absolutely appropriate. Mayor Smith being the overseer of everything, I think is in this instance very much appropriate also.
And by the way, I'm never gonna go look at anything. I have no intention of opening it except to take people off, and then when I have to shut it down. So thank you, I'm going to add that. I have no intention. I have no reason I want to be in there.
I do feel that the staff is going to have a resolution for us as for a closed loop system that will be much more user friendly for us, safer, give us all more confidence in our stuff while protecting our structures. I guess I don't feel that this is unreasonable. Yeah, I guess I don't feel it's unreasonable.
Other thoughts? And then I'll open it up to the audience and anybody online too.
I think it makes sense. I'm wondering if there is a way that we could potentially identify an appropriate system without having to go through one of these third-party contractors. I know there was a couple of recommendations from the public for like a solar powered cellular transmission device that would provide the live feed closed loop. You know, it would satisfy the privacy needs. So yeah.
Yes,
And I was just gonna say, that's also gonna come forward, that's one of the options, but we were supposed to bring back potential alternatives, so we wanted to make sure to bring it all back to you. But we did have members of the community reach out to us and give it to it, and that information will also be a part of the alternative systems.
Great. So that'll be at the next meeting. You feel like you will get it by then?
I think so,
Yeah.
it's been pretty active, so I'm hoping here within it, they were pretty quick, once they were done asking us questions about what we look for with our phone system, we were pretty quick to get back some potentials to look at. So I don't think it would take that long.
But you just don't have them yet to
We just
really
don't have them.
describe. Okay.
I guess that's my only concern is just not as a vote of lack of confidence, but a slippery slope. You know, we promised the public that we would shut down the system. And just because there was some nature, there was a particular company having our data period. I hesitate to like approve something just because it's convenient when deadlines can be easily eroded, as we've seen in this process and in terms of the time we thought it would take versus the time it would take. And yeah, that just gives me some pause. It is like, oh yeah, we can do that. Oh yeah, we can do that. And then we're, you know, how long does that go on? I think is a point of question that I have. You know, obviously it's incredibly important that we have visuals on this infrastructure, like period, and that there people can go back and look at footage, to Jordan's point about what happened. So I'm not disagreeing with any of that, and neither am I looking to put any of our infrastructure in danger. I am concerned about eroding a promise that we made to the public to shut down this particular company's system, and that continuing to be extended over time, and I'm not just knowing how long it's gonna take. And what if we hear that there's a contract has to get put out and it's gonna be over 5,000, so then we have to do an RFP process, and then it's just like ongoing. That's my concern.
I think we have already addressed most of the concern, which were about privacy. If people want to protect their privacy, don't go up to the water treatment facility, or don't go up to the wastewater treatment plant, if that's where we're gonna have the cameras. So I think the public's concerns have been addressed.
I do understand where you're coming from, trustee Ostrander. I also feel like I don't want to break faith with our community. And it is a slippery slope indeed, you're very right. Which makes me cautious also, like yourself. Yes, we can do this, but like you pointed out, how long before it becomes 7 months down the road and it's just not good again. We've lost everything. So
Yeah, I think that's the point. It's like public trust, right? A lot of this is about restoring public trust and responsiveness of town council. And I don't, to disagree with trustee Heck, here's that I think the other issue was the concern about the company itself. So I think there is some remaining concern. It's very small. I think the major concerns have been addressed. And we have real business and asset liability concerns that we as a council also need to be responsible for. Which, you know, is like our primary job as the town government is to support the entire water system, as you said, Mayor Smith. So I really hear that. I just don't, to trustee Fisher's point, like I don't want to get in a point where we're just now recovering public trust in this process and then doing something that's going to erode it further. And my concern is just is just that. Like, I don't want hordes of angry people back saying they don't trust us anymore when we're really are trying to do the right thing. So I guess I have a concern about the, like, some of this is outside of our control, if I'm correct, town clerk, and that it requires this vendor to get back to us. And then if the solutions and approving budgets, and so I just am concerned about time creep, and I think that that's why we set the initial 30-day deadline with the request to have an interim solution. It could have been as simple as Jordan gets a trail cam and puts it on his phone. I don't know, not to say that that's what you wanna do, but I don't wanna. And that's my conundrum right now. I'm a little bit stuck right there.
I'm gonna let Jordan have a chance to speak, which I don't. Go ahead, Jordan, tell us what you're thinking.
Okay, my thoughts are, I agree with everything. We definitely want it to be a closed loop system. What is stopping somebody local from putting in something else that doesn't make it a closed loop system? I guess that's my only concern. It might not be a concern at all. But it's something that is thought about, like, hey, maybe they do have a back door into it.
I don't quite understand your point. Is it a questioning? Yes, oh, Tina's has her hand up. She's gonna elaborate.
Please do correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan. I think, so part of the issue is that all these interim solutions that are really easy are a lot less secure than even Verkada. They have so many more backdoors and so many, a lot of them you can just go up and hit a button and hook your own phone to it and then have access. Or you can just do a manual reset, put your paper clip in, reset it, boom, it's your camera. And at least the Verkada system, you can't do that with, and that's one of the reasons that we're very much interested in a technical company providing it, because they're gonna provide layers of security that we can't and we don't know and we don't have access to necessarily.
That's very good information. Thank you.
is.
And that's what you meant, Jordan?
That is exactly what I meant. It's not that I don't trust other companies in town being able to do it. It just simply comes down to, if it could happen, it would happen. Maybe somebody else is looking into town information that, yes, we do want to keep confidential.
And I guess from my perspective, I hadn't really thought about, well, I guess I had resigned myself to the Public Works building not having any cameras. And I resigned myself to that for two reasons. One, we do have people driving around a lot, and there's people that live there. There's more eyeballs on it. But that's also a place where the public walks through. And it's that privacy issue back there, because people live back there, people walk across it, which, Public Works doesn't like that. But because there are people that live back there and they walk back and forth, to me, that area has more of the privacy issue associated with it that we don't at the other two, the fence and walled off places.
But the Public Works building, is my understanding, if we didn't have cameras, to secure it, it would need a fence, which to keep the public out of.
But remember, we're looking at alternative cameras. So there can be cameras in there if we find a system that works. We just don't want the Verkada system having the individual citizens in their system. That's the bottom line problem with the Verkada. And so I feel like in the meantime, while we find an alternative system, it still has the privacy issues associated with people walking around that because it's not fenced. But I'm hoping that with a new system, Public Works can have cameras again that just aren't being stored in the cloud, which seems to be the issue. And so are you considerably all right if those cameras are gone in the interim, getting more eyeballs on what's going on behind the shop and at the water depot?
Yes. Sorry,
Oh, you are? Oh, my gosh.
So there's
I think the best way to say it is there's already a backup system at the shop that's been there for 3 years. So even with her cutting down, there's still video there. And I'm not sure if that's been brought up before.
What kind of video is it? Maybe it's what we want. What's that?
Sorry, Rodney, I can hear the struggle in your voice. He's got really bad allergies going on.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you,
There,
Rob.
there is that other camera system that was going on where they can see, which is a closed loop system already. I apologize for Rodney. He has been having really hard allergies going on, and
You're off the hook.
he's trying his best to speak. But there is those other ones that have been going on that we talked about last meeting. And I think that's what he was trying to clarify is he can see the yard and he can see, he uses it to look at snow depths to know when to call people out.
Is that the one that Corey put up?
That is the correct one. Yes.
And it's just your phone?
Yeah.
Say it again, Billy?
It's an app.
An app on your phone, which is what some of this, hearing about these cameras, it sounds like that's possible, but they also can be hackable.
Right, that's what.
So that's the
what
other-
we're finding out. Thank you.
Yeah. So, so for now, if the Verkada cameras are gone from the back of the shop and the one that can see the water, or do you feel like you have enough coverage until we can figure out an alternative system?
Since I've been there, there's only been 2 incidences where since Verkada's been up, that the footage was even needed. And it didn't have anything to do with public works. It was being used to investigate crimes that were committed against people that lived in the apartment.
Oh, geez.
So they benefited the citizens more than they've ever benefit public works.
And that's interesting to know. Thank you. All right, so if everybody's okay here as trustees, if I can open up to the public, if anybody has any comments, come on up. Come on up, Ethel.
Shorter than town.
So since this whole discussion about how it has been taking place and new cameras and closed loop systems and iCloud and all of this other stuff, what I've heard from the public is that they do not have a problem with the utilities having cameras. They understand and they respect the fact that there needs to be care, caution, surveillance there. Not just because there are people who will do things, but also the microburst that Jordan was speaking about. That's what we used to call them in Arizona when you had those little mini tornadoes, microbursts. So my understanding is there's been no problem with the utilities having cameras. And that seemed to be addressed. And also the fact that you guys were given a time frame and you've been actively pursuing alternative the different options, closed loop systems, input from the public, that sort of thing. So I don't understand why we're beating the dead horse there. And taking the time to do it if we kind of all are on the same page. That's just all I want to say.
Excuse me. Thank you. Anyone else?
One up, Shereen.
Shereen Patterson in town. I agree with Ethel and all the people that spoke at these meetings, who were pretty much of one mind that get local talent, there's plenty here, can do this. for you. Don't have to be the people that are already working in the utilities, on the utilities or in the service. It can be separate. There's, I don't know, I can count on, well, 2 hands, how many people are available now for the town to set up systems, closed circuit, manageable, inexpensive, without any problem with interference from anything. And I think you should really consider that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on, oh, no? I see a hand.
I don't
Go
know how to.
ahead. Go ahead, Pete.
Thank you. I guess I would just like to say, one, if we were going to consider leaving the Verkada cameras on, I think that that should have been an agenda item rather than just sort of snuck on here. I think you'd have a lot more people there speaking about this. I do think that, as I've stated before, putting it on the facilities is fine, but we keep sort of blending that with also the public works, which is actually a camera filming the public, which is very different. That absolutely, that would be a complete violation of the public's trust if you leave that camera on tonight. I don't think, in the industry I work in, we have a term when people throw out things that we call it FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And what I'm hearing is a lot of FUD tonight. The fear, the uncertainty that maybe someone from Big B's will come over and do something, and maybe this thing happened, that if this would have been something, we wouldn't have had cameras there. That's all fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's not real. We have had those facilities without cameras for decades. Our police chief has said that he doesn't need the cameras to protect those facilities. I absolutely think we should put some low-cost solutions in there to have cameras, but I do not think we should keep the Verkada systems at all. And I do think it is again, it really should not have been put on. This should have been put on as an agenda item. You shouldn't even be voting on this without all the people who turned out to get those cameras turned off because they did not want Verkada. You should put this back on the agenda if you want to keep the Verkadas back on, and we'll turn up and you'll see how many people do not want those Verkada cameras on. I do not think you should vote on this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Go ahead, Jordan. Oh, Jordan, is that a new hand up or
Okay.
the same hand?
Yeah, nope. I put a new hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
I agree, but at the same time, I have to disagree a little bit because nobody should be at our water or wastewater plant that is not allowed to be there. So if somebody is there that we are unable to identify, that's kind of a big deal. It should be me and my other operators. And, we have our annual thing, and I don't care if you guys wanted to say you wanted to go up tomorrow. We'll go up tomorrow and look at everything. It is simply the thing that it is a federal law that we cannot have other people in there other than our operators there, or somebody that we allowed to be inside of our critical infrastructure. It's a hard thing to determine, but people shouldn't be going up in there without a representative of the town, which would be myself or the other operator, Derek Heiniger. Just going up there, there's tripping hazards, there's hazards of your height, there's a lot of things. We just all around, if we see somebody else up there that's not us without us being present, it's an issue.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Hang on, Mary, let me just, one of the reasons I brought it up tonight is because this is so public. I want the public to know that there are still some cameras there. And that and they will be, I'm hoping, and they will be there, so we're not encouraging the vandalism that's been happening at times in Town Park. As soon as they heard the word cameras, stuff was happening. And I don't want that to happen at the two plants. So whether we make a motion to do it tonight or at the next meeting on the 9th, which will still give us time to keep the cameras running, but I thought it was really important to bring that up as a subset.
And just to reiterate and confirm what Jordan said, it is a federal offense to trespass there, correct? So that would deter me.
There's no signage to that effect.
Oh, there's,
Oh, there.
okay, there's no trespassing signs.
I mean, I don't know, is there a trespassing sign on the gate into the water, into the sewer plant? I don't know.
The sewer plant, there definitely is, but I will give you guys a tour anytime.
We're gonna
It's-
set that up.
It's just
It's
like,
coming.
let's be cautious. Everybody be cautious. If you're walking into wastewater, if you're walking into a water plant, that doesn't mean you get to just start typing on the computer or think that the lagoons are a swimming pool. We want to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
And we are keeping the drinking water safe, and we are keeping the wastewater safe to be discharged into the river. It's
Our big job for the
It-
trustees. You know, it's important for it's the main thing the citizens have to have working. So I saw
How-
Mary, oh, sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
public health is our biggest thing. We take a vow when we do this that public health will be completely upheld. And I want that to be known. Like, we are concerned about your guys' public health, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that it is insured.
And I agree with that too, and the lack of cameras, after all this talk about cameras, if they weren't there, it makes me nervous. Right out the bat. So anyway, Mary, go ahead.
Mary Backer, from town. Just one quick thing is that we are not living in the same world that we lived in prior to 2020. Things have escalated enormously, and there are acts of vandalism and destruction of public property that we didn't necessarily ever have to worry about prior to that. So having cameras there are essential. It seems like this is a short stopgap thing. I appreciate what you're saying, Ms. Ostrander, about time creep. But this doesn't sound like it's gonna be a time creep much beyond the 30 days if we don't hear back from the contractors. So that's not a big concern for me. I am much happier that we have cameras that are functioning. Thank you.
Yes,
Billy?
I wanted to add on that both facilities are surrounded by private property as well. So when you're going out to the sewer lagoon, you're turning onto a driveway to get down to the water lagoon, which has a gate there as well that we've put up. And then the water plant is also private property, it's road to road. So you're going through a gate as well that is close sometimes to the cows. So,
but the thing is, somebody could come in from the top.
yeah,
They could come in, it's all right around the sewer, the water treatment plant is the wildlife conservation area. I mean, it's a conservation easement that people can be on, so that is my concern with both places, is that the public have access on foot to get into either one if they really want to.
So the reason why I thought that'd be a good idea to bring up is the fact that both locations are landlocked. If somebody were to show up on there, there's no public access or risk of somebody accidentally being on video with those cameras being active.
Right.
And I think that's the important
That's the
thing.
privacy piece.
If our sewer lagoon was on this road where it used to be the library, but where it's at now, you have to have a commitment to be on that camera or breaking the whole list of laws.
And if I may, in speaking with the police chief, what he said is the biggest deterrent is just those gates getting locked regularly. And making sure that the gates are secured and locked is like a huge part of process. And just making that a daily habit such that sometimes there could be a confusion, I think, with one of the driveways is connected or adjacent to a private home, and someone might turn down the wrong one. So just making sure that those gates are locked. He believes, he shared with me that he thinks that would be the biggest deterrent, just making sure that happens. I also just want to say to the public comment about having someone support, I did just get a formal offer from 2 members of the public to provide staff support if they needed. So I will email you guys as your instructions, and if hopefully they're helpful. It sounds like you're already doing a lot of work, but there's some support there, so we can send that through. I think I'm glad you brought this up at this time and understanding the time it's gonna take to do this. I think my preference would not to be voting on it tonight, to your point that we would still have time to vote on it at the next meeting so that we can have a little more information and just be more prepared for it. But I really hear what you're saying. I just want to say I'm fully committed to making sure our infrastructure is protected and our public works folks have access to the information that they need to do. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just wanted to add that the public commenter that spoke the last meeting that sent us a link to what their recommendation was. Any recommendation, we're gonna vet and make sure there's no issues with that system. We've already found issues with this recommendation.
Okay, great.
So whatever we get, we'll consider.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a deadline up.
The 30 days is June 11th,
Meeting is.
June 9th. So there's time to put this, well,
But to the point,
yeah,
it wasn't
it
on the
was, it
agenda
wasn't,
as
it
a
wasn't
vote.
specifically agendized other than talking about cameras, so that's a valid.
You don't really need a motion.
So we don't need
We
a
don't,
motion tonight.
it's my understanding, we would
Right.
still be able to implement it as necessary
In
and
time.
having a formal agenda.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes,
I just wanted to toss out there, I mean, because you guys have been talking a lot about public trust, which was the idea. So through this time, is because we wanted you guys to know that even though we don't have any information for you, we are working on it, you know? So that was a big part of why we wanted to make sure we got that date for you guys.
Thank you.
and I wanted to bring it up so everybody would think about it too, because that's the thing about the Verkada still stay. So we have a replacement at the 2 places, because when Dana said that Thursday night, I went, oh, yeah, that's right, it's big,
And
so.
I certainly would like to know that we have a really clear list of alternatives, which sounds like you're working on, but we haven't seen yet before I vote to extend it, because that will just help allay this issue I have with concrete and an undetermined point of future, because things are busy and you get busy and things get pushed off, and I just want to make sure that doesn't happen in this case.
I just thought there shouldn't be a gap in security coverage that we have. So that was my.
Is on the 9th, we can decide. And hopefully not have a gap on those, just the cameras in those 2 places, but I can go dink, 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 and everybody's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I get going, but I will find out.
Before we move on, just one other thing that the chief shared with me that I thought was a good point is that it might be possible to remove the need, or at least a large part of the need for the camera on the water station by simply moving the location of the water fill station in the future. So that's something we can talk about going forward if that's the case, but I do appreciate recommendations like this, which are like, oh, how could we remove the need for this? Or how could we further support security in some area by just changing the way something is? So not to say, oh, I think we should go ahead and do that. We haven't really talked about that or heard about it yet. But I just appreciated the suggestion of this is a way in which we could actually just eliminate the need for this in this area.
Yeah, right there.
So
yeah.
I just want to offer some gratitude for him. He's not here tonight, but I appreciated that kind of suggestion.
Just, yeah, would have to be investigated.
Of course.
But it's a thought as these things. All right, well then, if we're good, I'm gonna move on to number 5, which we're gonna turn over to you, Jordan, and it's the consideration of the USGS agreement. So if you will explain that. Hang on, we have your staff report.
Page 109.
Page 109. Thank you. So Jordan, if you'll take the lead on that, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, so this USGS monitoring station has been there for a while. We actually pay for the greater part of it. And even with talking with USGS, they were like, I'm not really sure why we're doing this, but you guys put it in place. I have talked with the water commissioner who says he does not need it. I have talked with the state CDPHE about why we are paying for this, and nobody can come up with a definitive answer because it does not have anything to do with our NPDES permit. I don't think that we need it.
So you're suggesting we do not send them another check and maybe propose a letter that says we no longer want to participate in paying for the gauging station?
That is exactly right.
And Fina?
I just have a question, Jordan. Do you know if this is related to the work that is being done trying to end the water moratorium?
No.
No, okay, that's an easy question.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I was told it had to do with people kayaking. I don't know. And that's not really, so hang on one second. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm just, but where it's at, based on the station number, is there a location?
It's below. Is it between, is it upstream of where the sewage plant used to be, Jordan?
It is. It's a weird place. It's somewhere between the old wastewater plant and the new wastewater plant. And even talking with the water commissioner, he was like, even our lowest flows would have no effect on your discharge.
I thought it had to do with
Yeah,
that.
that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Do we know when the agreement was entered into?
So I found I don't want to call it a pamphlet. It was actually kind of a whole book that was said voluntary between 2001 and 2002 of it being put in there. And there's no reason why we're having to do that because our discharges from wastewater have nothing to do with the amount of volume coming into the North Fork of the Gunnison. And I was even told it was extremely strange by the state. It was really hard to get information on it. Even talking to Brian Moore, who is the person that takes care of it, he's like, I don't really know. So
Wait, so Mintern's paying for those too?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry, is Mintern also paying for this, or is it just us? It says station number, station name, period of record, priority ranking, match rate, total cost, town of Mintern funds, USGS funds.
That's probably is, maybe this is a different amount than we've done before.
Is this the wrong?
I think it's the wrong. They might have put it in the wrong town.
Or maybe it's just the wrong station?
I don't know.
They just didn't update the.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
What's the chest pain on it?
Because I have to tell you, we had the bill, we looked at it in disbursements, and the bill was for $1,700 and some dollars.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out how much we're paying, and right now, this Mintern's paying $8,000.
Yeah, they probably
Okay.
sent the wrong one.
Okay.
I don't know if it matches the station, but we did say, this is the agenda, we're not gonna pay this. Yeah, that's sweet.
The one that I saw was for about $6,235, I believe. And it's just not needed. We don't
Right, I mean.
use that data.
Yeah, I think the letter got a little misconstrued that we're seeing here. I haven't seen the other letters, but I'm just telling you, the bill was for 17 something for this, for a station. So it sounds like the point is, we've been paying, and that was supposed to have been half when we do, and I might ask Mary to come up, because you had your hand up, and you might remember some of this too, because it's been going on for several years.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, this was always an annual fee. If it's a station I'm thinking about, it wasn't for a small period of time like this agreement is. It was for the entire year. And one of the reasons that we went ahead and agreed to do that is because that information is really important in the springtime. Because like a couple of years ago, when we had the near flood situations between the station upriver from us and the one downriver, we were able to gauge how much water we were actually going to see coming through us, because it does accumulate in between those two places. So it does serve a purpose in the springtime. But most of the time it doesn't. So if they're breaking it up now into these smaller segments, if we can just take the spring section of that, say February through May, and pay for that instead of paying for a whole year, that would make a lot of sense.
Thank you. And I would suggest they're gonna probably leave the gauging station there, whether we pay half of it anyway, so we would get the information anyway, wouldn't we, Jordan?
Or will they decommission it?
I don't know.
And I'm also curious if we're paying 6,000 or 1,700.
I'll tell you, the bill was for 1,700, and that's what it's been over the years, was 1,700, Jordan. So I think this letter, I don't know, it's confusing.
Whatever I submitted was what was submitted to me to look into
Right.
investigation. And 1,700 I think would be great for the community to kind of look into, like, hey, can you do your recreation sports on this? But even talking to the water commissioner, he was like, we have so much water running down that it has nothing to do with your permit, and it doesn't have anything to do with our permit. So it's very confusing, and I don't think that we need it for anything other than maybe if people want to use it for recreation.
I mean, I look at I look at the gauge when I'm looking at going out on the river for sure as like a recreation point of information.
Is it this one you think, or the?
I look at all of them just to understand. I mean, I also go look at the river.
Yeah.
You know,
I just wonder if when you look, you see this one, whatever the number
Well,
is.
that's why I was
and
trying to
upstream.
figure out exactly where it was at, so I could, but yeah, that is one that I look at, and I think if folks are coming in from out of town to recreate, you know, and that could be a point of information for them. I guess it matters to me the cost, because 1,700 does seem like it's worth it for potential outside recreation tourism, but 6,000 is a lot.
Well, they just wanted us to pay two.
Did they, or is that the USGS
Let's see,
funds that
what
match
did they-
it?
Oh, no, they wanted us to pay 6.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is definitely, this is not what we have gotten in the past. We never paid 6,000. So I would like to suggest that we table this and find out which gauge it actually is, because I know this is in the records, because we've done this every year, right, Mary? This has come up every year, and like I said, we got a bill for 1,700. I did not compare the station number on the bill to the station number here. So Jordan, I know they wanted the money by the 21st of May, and we're already over. See, and this is the period of July 1/26 to October, and we did it for the year.
Right, so maybe they sent us the wrong bill.
I think they
Like, if that's
did.
what they sent to Jordan.
I think what you got is improper, and so, and what are they gonna do if we don't pay our half time?
Yeah, okay. So I think I'm picking up what you're throwing down. They might
And
have
you wouldn't
switched.
know all this.
Did they send us the wrong bill?
They might have sent us the wrong bill where they're thinking we're paying 6,000, where they're paying 2,000,
Yeah,
which of
that's-
course inflation is happening. But yeah, I thought it was a little egregious myself, because I was like, $6,000 for something we don't even understand what's going on for. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense, and I can reach out to Brian Moore and be like, did you guys maybe get this mixed up? And
Yeah, why don't we just table it? Is that the right term? Or,
Or just request to see if it's the right bill.
yeah, and then we can bring it back. Because I can tell you that doesn't look right at all. It's, I remember asking about this years ago, what are we doing this for? It was $1,700. Well, like I said, coincidentally, we got the bill.
Right.
And I went, nope, well,
Right,
let's
so-
hold it.
that would be something to maybe send to Jordan so he could call
Yeah.
Brian and say, Brian, we got one bill here and one agreement
Right.
here and they don't match up. Can you help
And
me
he-
figure out what's going on?
Jordan, you may not have seen the bill. You know, I don't know whose desk it went across. So, okay, can we table this topic? We'll do more research and we'll bring it back.
Thank you.
Table or is table the correct word?
Tables.
Okay, we'll table this. Always a little entertainment. Okay.
It's like the intern.
Yeah. So the other, we're moving on to consideration of approval for Public Works to purchase a new lawnmower, new lawn mowing equipment. And I don't know, Rodney, is it you? Can you do it?
So I asked Bailey to do this meeting with me to present this, but she is well prepared to present this.
Great.
You'll understand it better.
Take it away, Bailey.
Give me one second, I wanna read what he had put on.
Okay, and we have the third quote in paper, and we'll ask that it get. This is the one for 25,266 from Landworks Equipment. This was the one that didn't make it into the packet.
And the file was corrected, it would,
Yeah,
so we
so
sent it.
yeah, we have it in paper, and if you'll add it into a revised packet. Anyway, we all have that in front of us, the third quote. Did you see the third quote?
It's all about this.
Do you need it? Or you're just.
So the third quote is from Walker Mowers. And it's something to keep in mind when you're looking at the quotes in this packet.
Right.
Is Grasshopper is the highest, obviously. However, Grasshopper is the only company that has a compatible non-core aerator. So the Grasshopper quote is actually two pieces of equipment. And the other companies were not able to produce a package like Grasshopper did. So I understand the price for Grasshopper seems a little high, but it's two pieces of equipment in that quote.
And I also understand that the grass comes out the back as opposed to the side,
Yeah, it fills up in the back, it's
instead of it shooting
so
into
the
beds.
original one, it's a smaller bushel.
Yes.
Bushel, and the new one is 3 times more, so we'd be able to get more grass in that mower. Than our old one's smaller, this one's bigger. Along with that, there's the deck, which is it's ran off of hydraulics, so you can lift that deck up and you can put attachments on it, so with that, you can get a snow removal attachment, seating of the spreader and dethatcher, and the aerator no core is also just. I think it's a good word.
It's, I forget the technical name for it, but to describe it. The old technology integration produces the cores that pop out and cover the lawn. The new technology is coreless, so it's like a spike that punches the hole that's needed without producing a solid core to dispose of.
And our old rolls up into that chair here. Aerator's the one that, it's like the cement block.
Say that again?
Okay, so our old one, I mean, you're putting it on the behind the 4-wheeler with a cinder block on top of it. Not very efficient.
And the photos are kind of showing dilapidation or.
So that mower is 10 years old also. It does break down a lot, it holds less capacity. It just. So I was on parks all of last year. So that did suck having to go and mow also while doing trash and then it break down that same day. With that, there's like the back, so where the bushels to hold the grass, those handles are going out, they're worn, we've fixed them, welded them, a whole bunch of stuff with it. Also along the mower. Or the motor part.
So this picture that we're looking at right here is an incident that happened about 2.5 weeks ago. Our parks person, Cole Jordan, was mowing the football field. There's no incident as far as collision. During the mowing operations in the rough bouncy terrain, it broke 3 wells and you could see the grass catching unit there was literally dragging on the ground. And if you go, I believe it was like one more picture, you could see that on the hose that runs the grass into the bin, there's a stick that was holding that right there. That's
Oh, a snip.
to try to stabilize
And
the catches.
where it comes like through the bottom of the deck to go into that hose too, that thing has been, it's like completely, what's the word?
It has been done
Yeah.
so many times. Now, the reason for that, just to have full transparency, is a part where storage shed is at. There was a massive dome there. So the mower really fit into the shed. So several of those contacts that damaged that output port were hitting that stump. That's been remedied and removed. So it's a clear, accessible availability to get into that shed.
So could you, so the grasshopper is coming, the one you're looking at actually can have an aerator added,
So.
or the Bobcat?
That.
No, the Bobcat, grasshopper, okay.
So.
The reason I'm asking is that, is the park really does need to be aerated.
Yeah, so
And-
that is included an aerator with it.
And which,
So if you look at the cost of the machine, just the mower, it is relatively in competition with the other two companies. The reason why Grasshopper is so much higher because that includes the aerator as well. So if you look down the aerator, the AE 36 behind aerator.
hang on, where are you? What page? Are we on the right page? Okay, I'm on 121, but it doesn't look like that.
119.
Okay. So Bobcat is on 119. And
See if Jordan has his hand up.
it has it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have an aerator associated with this, or it does?
So.
Oh, it does.
The only one that does is the Grasshopper. The Walker and the Bobcat mowers don't even make that as a company. If we were to run an aerator with Bobcat or Walker, we would get a third party company to supply that.
At another time. So right now, the 22,000, the Bobcat is what was used, that amount was used in the capital improvement plan that's in the budget.
Okay.
Because I'll just let you know. So in the capital improvement plan that is in the 2026 budget, there is, for this year, the hope was it was parks and right-of-way maintenance equipment. And I'm assuming it was it, and they estimated 23,000, which I think is associated with this. Would that be right? Is that who you got? Your didn't you have people come give you demonstrations,
Yeah, we
Rodney?
got all three companies.
So-
demos.
So that's where I think that has come from, is this Bobcat. Because right now, it was approved to do 23,000 in fiscal year 2026 for a mower. But so, and this is what I was noticing. And then, but you're saying the Bobcat does not have the ability to attach an aerator?
Reason why, if this were not the ability, the reason why the Grasshopper seems like the obvious choice is because of the availability for other yard working implements that are compatible with that.
Such as the snow blowing.
Yeah.
What was else did you say?
The snow removal, seeding, spreading, and the debatch.
Got it. So you could use it to spread compost or fertilizer.
Yes, and we are also trying to figure out, like get the parks fertilized and seeded.
But those would be additional implement purchases in subsequent to this.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm looking at the Bobcat quote and it does say tow behind aerator, 4,250. Is that just like a estimate for what that third party part would be in addition?
Yeah, the aerators that Bobcat provides are outsourced from other companies, but not made by Bobcat. So yeah, you could buy an aerator through Bobcat, but it's not
As compatible.
as good.
But just to be clear, like this line item here on the Bobcat quote would be like a general cost for that implement in addition? Is that
To the mower, in addition to the mower? Right? Because that's what I'm confused about.
I think that's how I'm reading it, is like the total would be 23,313 for the mower itself. And then this is like a potentially additional charge, but I'm asking for confirmation.
Sure.
Okay, then let's have his hand.
Oh, go ahead, Jordan. Thank you.
I don't want to speak for Rodney if he's willing to give me the floor. I
think he's giving you the go ahead.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Okay, yeah. So he asked me to be on scene for the demos of these mowers. I know he's having a hard time speaking and having a hard time getting it out. So our old mower is, I think in like 2017 is when we took the parks over. I can't really remember. It's falling apart. We had a Grasshopper rep out. They did a great job of showing us what they were able to do. So he's asking for the mower plus an aerator that is able to be put onto the front of that. And if you guys have ever been on golf courses or anything, you know, when they pull out the plugs, this doesn't do plugs. This just hits it down, allows more water, allows more nutrients and everything. And he was looking for nutrients today, a way to just kind of bring the parks back, because the parks have always been great, but water and everything is beside the point. They need their NPK scale. They need their nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. They need everything else. And this other implement allows us to put that into it to bring the parks back to full fruition.
Yeah, I just have a question. So the Bobcat is the mower itself is 16,000. And then it has the deck and the aerator are separate, but those all came to $23,000.
So speaking to the Bobcat itself, I ran that and I was able to drive so fast on that it was a little bit scary. The grasshopper, I think, is exactly what we need.
Okay.
And just to add to what Jordan was saying, it was at the Bobcat presentation as well. And we immediately said, no, we cannot have the Bobcat because it is super fast. Like break our speed limit. And so and seasonal employees and whoever may be running that, of having the trust to not get hurt or hurt somebody else. We felt like it was more of a safety hazard
No, that's good.
Beneficial.
That's more, we're talking about the risk. Yeah, okay, and workers' comp. So, and I was just trying to compare the two that we have in the packet. This one is pretty sketchy, pretty limited. So here's why I'm bringing up money. So, I absolutely agree we need an aerator. And to not have the little plugs that people think if the geese have been by is probably a good thing. So it's just, the trustees need to understand that budget wise, if we go with everything that's associated with the grasshopper, it is $31,000. And the budget was 23,000 for the mower in particular, but our budget in parks has built machinery and equipment at $43,000. So I don't know what else is on the tap to be purchased. So the money is there, it's just we'll have to think about the future purchases you wanna do, like the playground equipment was put in 2026. So I'm not against the grasshopper, me personally, and I think you need an aerator for sure. I don't know if you need everything else they're offering right now, and maybe you could get it later to be a little bit closer to the budget, and I'm just being perfectly transparent, honest, knowing what I know about the money and the budget.
I just noticed on the Bobcat quote, there's a dealer max municipal discount of $8,000. And my mother always taught me that you know what the answer is if you don't ask. Just wondering if we could maybe challenge Grasshopper to offer us something similar since Bobcat made it so enticing.
We can negotiate. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's would be a good like selling point. It's like, this other company gave us a really significant discount. What could you do for us? So.
If I remember, Rodney, it was a little bit exuberant and it was always a pull behind and never something that you could see. So it was a pull behind. Rodney might be able to add a little bit more to that. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Rod, because you can't speak, but that's how what I remember.
We gotta keep bringing public works to these things.
So what did that mean, Jordan? I didn't know what the pull behind had to do. What was the significance of that?
I think there was something else you had to add to be able to do the pull behind, just modifications to it, which might have actually brought it to almost the same price as what the Grasshopper was. The Grasshopper was kind of like a plug and play, grab and go.
It's good.
It was different for the Bobcat. Rodney could correct me. I don't remember all of it.
What's the guarantee on is there a couple years guarantee on the Grasshopper? Some warranty. And I have one last question. So everything that's under the power back model fixed mount, are all those things you have to have? And it's on page 121.
Oh, on the 940 G30, that was just a description of the current machine. That is not optional.
Where are you? I'm down on the bottom. I'm at power back model 25 fixed mount. Could you scroll down just a little bit, Ruth? There, those 5 entries, are those things we have to have with the Grasshopper?
Yes, they are.
Okay, they're not optional. Okay, because I don't know what any of this stuff means. Okay.
Specifically purchased lawnmower by committee, it's really funny, but I have a question, which is why is the list total 38,612 and the contract is 31?
So I can actually answer that. I need some help from Sam. There's this contract organization that municipalities and government work with, where it tries to find the best price for a specific item. Do you know what I'm?
I mean, I've heard of it, but I can't give more details.
Yeah, well, grasshopper is a 40 times, I can't think of the word right now. But they're a part of that, so the contract prices for government only. That's what they offer to government agencies.
It might already be.
So there might already be a discount
Yeah.
in there.
Yes, there is a discount, sure, because we're a government agency.
So your best, you would love to have the whole grasshopper with the aerator at 31.
That's what I'm
56.
like.
So-
it is.
So the trustees have to realize that the money is there, it's just a little bit more than was budgeted in the capital improvement plan, but the money is within parks to do it. Based on some of the other entries, we may just not get a merry-go-round this year. Yeah.
Just one more thing, if I might add.
Hmm?
That grasshopper was the best machine that we ran.
Yeah,
It was impeccable. It did exactly what we wanted it to do. It was the only one that came up that just excelled. And we already have a grasshopper, so.
Is that really the case that we're trading a playground equipment?
well, there's $20,000 for playground equipment that's in the capital
And
improvement
you said
plan.
40 for what?
And there's 43 altogether for machinery and equipment, and there's 20,000 for capital outlay, which I think is associated with the sprinkler system. Would that be right?
Originally, it was the cost for the sprinkler system, the lowest we could get was 125.
Okay, so
So that 20,000 for capital outlay is supposed to be designated for something else. That 125,000 is to fully automate the irrigation system for the town parks, which I doubt will be happening anytime soon.
I don't think that's budgeted for in 26, just, I don't think so.
I saw
Yeah,
an ADA merry-go-round. It is like the urban technology and ADA merry-go-rounds at just over 9,000 is what that would cost. I can do a non-ADA merry-go-round, it's closer to 2,000. So
anyway, just letting you know, I think the money is there to do it based on how line items can be shifted, or we can do a budget amendment if needed. But I guess it's up to you. I think it's a doable thing based on the budget. And right-of-way maintenance, we have another 15,000, and some of this goes to that too, so it could be coming out of some different line items, and I'm sorry, Stefan's not here to say for sure, but it's another, what, $9,000, is that right? 8,000. So,
Well, I just would like to add, kudos to you guys and all your MacGyvering, because that's very impressive. Threw that out as long as you could. And I'm also stoked to hear you guys talk about compost and fertilizing, because I think that's gonna be critical for the long-term life of our trees, especially as we encounter more droughts and stuff, so. Sort of a tangential,
no, it's
but
good.
yeah.
Sure. We really need to aerate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thatch, dethatch, and reseed, all that stuff, things, indeed.
And just the only thing I have to say, because it's a drought thing, is like, it is interesting to spend money on a new lawnmower in a year where we might have to shut down the irrigation for lawns. And that our water system really needs priority in all of the things. That being said, it seems like the current mower is literally a hazard. And so I just, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have lawns for all the summer, certainly not past July.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, I can't speak for that, but I mean, you have to mow at some point. And really you have to aerate, which I think is too late this year, and that'll really help with drought
Yeah,
too.
and the future spreading and everything, and just making a point that I understand we're spending money on a lawnmower in a year when we're not gonna have a lot of lawns, but I understand there's a need.
And they'll be irrigating the park.
And then it's budgeted. Okay, can I make a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the grasshopper contract. I would also like to suggest, this is probably bad, I shouldn't do this, okay?
Well, you wanna do pieces? Do it in parts? Or what, you
Yeah.
wanna say it and then figure it out?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask staff to see if they can give us anything better for a deal, just ask. And then regardless of what they say, prove the amount for the grasshopper, not to exceed the proposal that we have seen here tonight in cost.
Okay, was that a motion that you guys? Do we need any modification? You want,
I think we got
okay. Make sure. All right,
I'll second that.
all right, all in favor? Okay, Mower City, yes, Rodney, go ahead.
I just have a question to fulfill that request. If I find a better deal where I can negotiate with somebody, do I need to bring that back?
No, we would just approve it and then you would let us know, hey, we got a better deal.
Okay.
And then that's it.
You're good to go. It's 9:15. We have two more items on the agenda. Could somebody make a motion? Well, let's keep going. At 9:25, I'll ask somebody to make a motion to extend the meeting. So we are now to Rodney again. Consideration of approval of purchases and installation of 2 dead-end signs.
So, I'm gonna introduce this one and then Bailey's gonna take over for me. This is an effort to be transparent with the town board. This stems from 2 requests for work orders that came from residents of the town that I personally denied the work. I figured it would be better to approach you guys with the options and let you guys make the decision.
With like, so there's 2, there would be dead end signs. Each sign is of 75. It's 75 a piece. I think that it was good that we denied it until we brought it to you guys, because for instance, if we got 2 signs, 2 dead end signs and put them out. Insert those 2 spots that it was requested, eventually we had 2 more people wanting a dead end sign. And that would, there's 26 dead ends here in town. Therefore, just with all that being said, if we were to say yes to this, we would rather. We're willing to bring it up to you guys so that we can get it in a bulk order and have those signs ready instead of dragging it along. One by one. Does that make sense?
Because there's a budgetary value to not just order 1 or 2 signs at a time, but
Yeah,
wait,
it would just be
there's a
more
certain amount.
beneficial, I think, if we had all the signs there. So that way we'll get a work order and be like, hey, we gotta go put a sign over there and already have it. And ordering in bulk, it might be a little bit cheaper than just getting certain signs throughout the entire year for certain spots that want them. But another point too is both signs or both places that had asked for dead end signs are also both just alleyways. For instance, the Maple Leaf Apartments over here, that's one of the spots, and that just leads up to a house on the very end, down at the end of that alleyway. And then the other one is up by Doris Avenue, and there's the church right there. And it's just, when we're on the trash, we pull into it and then we back out of it, and there's 3 houses right there. But they're alleyways, like short alleyways.
Do you feel like the bulk of the others that you said, 26? Are they, and they're all similar alleyways?
No, so for instance, do you guys know where West 4th Street is? Over there, it's like the cul-de-sac behind the library. That I feel like is a necessary spot for it, with it being a road stone, if someone could turn down there and be like, oh. Like, that's like a necessary spot, it's a cul-de-sac. Maybe even, what else can you think of? Apple Valley, yeah, there's the 3 cul-de-sacs that we have up there. And down towards Hanson Mesa, which would be at the top of Pan American, and you can go. Like, obviously, there's a gate there and stuff right there, so it doesn't really matter that there's a dead end sign there, but just for example.
Can I ask, would it be appropriate for us to make a motion that you come back to us with a plan of priority for dead end sign replacement for the town, and like, then we can look at batching orders and costing it effectively given the budget and priority?
My question is the thing I wanted to find out too is, does the town board want to consider installing dead end signs at this time? Was my question. Or do we deny the work order submitted by the residents and not mess with it, basically? Is what I would like to know. If you guys would like dead end signs throughout the town, there's added cost to this as well, because up to $75 a sign does not include hardware and posts. So let's say that we're several $1,000s into this project at a starting point. That's why I put this up here and I denied those requests. Is this could actually be decent cost to do, and does the board even want to mess with it or not? Because it's by no means required.
Did you get any input from PD as to whether it's somehow in the best interest for the signs to be there?
I spoke with the chief and he recommended me to do what I'm doing right now.
So do you feel like it's overkill to put a dead end sign at an alley? And well, let me back up. Why did they want the dead end sign? What's going on with that particular homeowner that's causing them to ask?
I guess that maybe it kind of makes a little bit sense because there is those apartments there, so there could be people going down. And there's reserved parking on that side, and also, or the other side I don't think is reserved, but then in the alleyway it is reserved. For those, I think there's 4 apartments, so there's 4 cars that park back in there. Maybe they just have too many people coming down in there, turning around and trying to figure out a place to park or go.
That's been the biggest complaint. And especially the one up there by Doris, between Doris and Paonia. The gentleman that lives there, he says that it is almost a constant nuisance. People going in there and turning around, not realizing it's a dead end.
And parking there, like just parking in the alleyway, not knowing that that's basically his driveway, even though it is in the floodway.
See why people are kind of upset about it.
My intention here is, if I ordered the 2 signs, which I could have done, and people start noticing, hey,
Everybody wants it.
if everybody wants one, then I won't be able to spend that kind of money, which would be needed to do where everyone is needed. So I wanted to bring it to you guys and let you know, we have some resident like requests, but it's much bigger than just those 2 locations. And that's
I was curious about like a priority and like, is there, what gives rise to something being determined as a priority? To Mayor Page's questions about like, well, why did they make the complaint in the first place? And does it merit a sign? Well, what does merit mean? Like, and I think that's why, what would look to you guys to be like, when do we think it would be, and under what circumstances or evidence makes sense to put a sign there? And then therefore, where, like, so it wouldn't just be anybody could ask you, it would be like, they have to have this level of, you have to show these things. And then to qualify for it, and then there's already, the town already has like a priority list of areas that we've identified as needing some signage. I don't know, I'm not trying to create more work, but just process wise, something like that, where you're not just responding to every call or denying every, because I think tonight, maybe it makes sense to deny these now and try to set in motion some criteria for what approval would look like. And if you all know between PD and Department of Public Works areas where it is a problem all the time, then you say, well, these are priority areas that we know about. And then we won't get into this, everybody wants a dead end sign, which I think you're trying to avoid, right? Yeah.
Precedent setting that anybody can ask and get it, yeah. I'm gonna ask for a motion to extend the meeting 15 minutes to, what would that be, whatever 15 minutes.
Motion to extend the meeting to 9:40.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So do you, look better, do you feel like there needs to be a motion to, ask the staff to do a little bit more census taking of the potential 26 places? Does that need to be done by motion?
I would say since this did start from requests, that would probably be best for Public Works, so that then they can say, we've got a job to do for the board now, and
bring it back when they get it done. That's
Just in the interest of time, I'd like to make a motion to deny these two requests, but to direct staff, both Public Works and PD, to come back with a set of criteria that would warrant a dead end sign and potential areas of priority should they exist, so that we may create a formal process for request of dead end signs.
Let's see, you're typing away.
we got.
You're good. Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay. And let's see now, consideration and discussion of adding 2 standing work sessions a month for information on town projects and upcoming agenda items. And that just came, trustee Ostrander and I were talking about the fire hose effect that you new trustees are certainly experiencing because there's so much that's been going on. There are a lot of topics that could be discussed just in a work session, in an informal work session where you could get up to speed on things that are gonna come to the board or just up to speed. Yes.
I was gonna say, I tried to take 2 examples just from tonight. Questions you guys had about the lawnmower and the discussion there, and then the dead end sign things, these would have been great. Basically, you intended and been like, hey, let's get some more information and then bring it through. And then I think it's important too that by putting a standing one in, then it just means that you guys know that there might be one, that doesn't mean you have to. If there's nothing that you guys really want to identify there, or everybody's gonna be out of town for a holiday, there's nothing that stops you from rescheduling or stopping one of those, but at least it's there. If you want it, gives you a chance to talk more with staff about things too.
I have a clarifying question because I appreciate both those points a lot and thank you for responding to my request. Would it be possible, even though the entire packet obviously would not be available at that time, to have an agenda laid out so we could identify like, hey, we're gonna need to talk about, we've got 4 purchase orders to compare. Let's bring in staff to talk about that. Like, are we able to see what's coming at us so that we can help create the agendas for those meetings? Or would you guys create the agendas for those meetings based on?
The way it works right now, at least when it comes to staff bringing something forward to you, is a lot of it depends on when. Change orders unfortunately tend to come a lot of time at the last minute. There might be circumstances when they're like, okay, we're gonna have to have a change order thing on this at some point, we can talk about it. But I can't guarantee that. Unfortunately, a lot of staff things specifically tend to come when they come. Contracts, those kind of things can, community things that are coming up, I mean, that comes from taking the temperature and either trustees or the mayor or somebody being like, hey, maybe we should talk about this before it becomes a bigger issue.
And that's where I think if we had standing dates, it would be easier to what's coming and what we should be talking about. Because we kind of know what's coming in an agenda, not necessarily completely until like a couple days when the agenda goes out on that Wednesday. But there's a lot of things that we could definitely predict and put on there. But the standing ones would make that so much easier than trying to schedule a work session.
And is it just our sessions? How long?
That's why I brought it to you guys, so this is gonna be your work session, so if that means you guys wanna talk about 2 topics and you don't wanna spend more than an hour on it. Fine, how much public comment do you want, those kind of things, that's for you to set, I just wanted to toss the topic out there. What it ends up looking like ultimately is up to you guys. What's gonna work for you?
And we've done them before that are ahead of the meetings, the 6:30 meetings when we done. Didn't we just do one?
Yeah.
But, or it could be a separate day.
But I can
But-
tell you that makes for a really.
Yeah, yes, it does. No, it does, but I think that,
I think one of
because
the-
you work, no, it's really
Yeah,
hard juggling all this.
Yeah, I think one of the goals would be to not have us here for like 3 hours at a time, which I think this would help. But I'm wondering if we need to even have just regular hearings where we're voting on things too, to expedite things happening for you guys too. One of the reasons this came up is because, you know, we talk about this in clerk camps, we call it. So, but a lot of places have actually found that stuff like this, even just to talk about 3 of the topics that may be on your thing, can cut down your meeting time exponentially. It's still public. It's a much less formal conversation, so you're not as bound by Robert's rules and stuff, and you can actually just talk. So request specific, maybe further down the line information to make your decision, and in some cases, it can actually make that, you focus on public comment. If it goes from there, then they'll move into an action item. So it can actually help cut down on.
So that's what, we had if we had talked about lawnmowers at a work session, this would have been simple. And budget. But sometimes it's knowing what the topic should be. And a little bit of prediction, because I think the work session and you all need to understand about the Hansen Center. You need to understand there's a rulemaking going on, that there's a cutout for Paonia. There's a lot of stuff, all of which I don't know, but it's those things that may not even be on an agenda, but you need to know about. So it's really a mixture of some more background to make our meetings quicker. So we haven't had scheduled ones, so to me, it'd be great if we could figure out a schedule that works. And I look to you two, and I know you two should review. You and I don't go to work, we just work here. But you know, what's doable and doesn't burn you out. These meetings are a burnout, so we definitely need to get some of this stuff. So and I don't know if we are precluded from the Tuesdays when the SDR meetings are. I don't know if Tuesdays are good.
It depends on what time you guys wanna do. The STR meeting is until.
5 to 6:30.
Yes, from 5 to 6:30, and they have a very strict.
Yeah,
they
so I mean-
start and they end.
So it could start, a work session could start every other Tuesday at 6:30, and then see how it works, and then we can modify from
We
there.
also don't have to have a quorum, so
Right.
it's one of those, if 2 of you show up because it's your burning desire to hear what Police Chief Laminger has to say about something that he needs for it.
Yeah.
You know,
We can
and
have,
it's a much more casual conversation.
and it's recorded, so you can listen.
Can we request agenda items be put on it? Or does the staff put the agenda items on? I think
You could request, as long as we know what we have information on.
The way we do it now is if staff has something that needs to be on there, we put it on and make sure the mayor knows. Other than that, it's the mayor's agenda.
Yeah.
So any requests that I receive from the public or anywhere else go straight to the mayor for her to make a decision on, or whether we need more information on it before it comes in.
Yeah, and again, do a request for an agenda item, do it through Sam again too, and then she'll send to me.
So that I don't see any reason why that couldn't be, hey, we've had like 3 trustees that want to talk about this subject because they know what's coming up.
Yeah, and to me, it can be pretty open-ended. I already know things we need to talk about, but it can also be timely to the things we're gonna have to have a vote on too. Yeah, but how do Tuesdays feel to everybody? That would be 4 Tuesdays a month.
I'm already in meetings 4 Tuesdays a month.
Yeah, those 2 work sessions. As a matter of fact, it's a good idea when we need them, but I think we ought to have them as needed myself. When we have a problem, call for a work session.
It seems like you need them a lot, right?
Yeah, I think we need to very bad right now. From this side of it, and Deputy Clerk Santiago will agree. Because you guys are all pretty active in this, that, and the other thing, it's actually one of the reasons why I suggested a standing work session. But it's because sometimes it is really hard to get all of you on one thing, and especially if it is an important topic that all of you are gonna wanna be discussing about and learning what you need to learn, something that's in place to where you guys are already kind of planning for, where it's more of a bonus if you guys call us and say, we don't need one, and staff gets go, yeah, we're going. you know, sometimes it's easier if you have that standing thing.
And it could be we catch up and only need one a month.
And
You'll
maybe
catch up on the fire
it
notice.
doesn't help, and you guys are like, what waste of time.
Or, and the good thing is you don't have to go.
Yeah, they're not mandatory.
They're not mandatory. And if I'm on, I'm the only one that shows up. Anyway. And they'll be recorded.
So in the interest of time, I'd like to make a motion that we set a standing meeting at Tuesdays at 6:30 for a public work session, the length of which an agenda will be determined prior
Yep.
by the mayor and staff.
With trustees.
And then, yeah.
Okay, we got 6 more minutes. Oh, we got a second for that? Oh, wait a minute.
Did I just hear, wait a minute, I didn't understand the motion.
Yeah,
Every other
it was to
Tuesday?
set a standing meeting at 6:30 on Tuesdays for a work session for every other Tuesdays.
No.
Yeah.
Every other-
Apologies, you're correct, trustee Chick, for every other Tuesday. At 6:30,
Can I,
as needed.
one clarification? Do you wanna do like first and third as opposed to every other, or do you want the possibility of when you have a 5th week, you have 3 work sessions? a month?
Oh, no.
There's 2, there's. As.
Alternating with our normal.
Correct.
Yeah, because they're second full, right? We could have a bye week in there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make you.
So did you feel okay about the motion?
Yes, set a standing meeting Tuesdays, 6:30 PM on first and third Tuesdays of the month
For work session,
for work session.
because you specifically said work
Yes,
session. Okay. Second,
A second?
all in favor? Woohoo, okay, last thing, any STR report? Nope. Okay,
Canceled.
So,
So.
okay, wait a minute, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting in a second. You got a pen? Need a pen? I got a pen.
$100.
I know, get you 100, get you 200 here.
I was should increase it to 140 to cover the water bill.
Right.
Yes. People in town, you certain that that is a perk. For doing this
You might get trashed. I know. Believe me, okay. Thank you very much. All right, I'm gonna have all this. I will adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little weird, like still paying $40.
Great job.